go so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How we doing? FT Live on a Tuesday. Braun, Pierzynski, Kratz. Kelly Crull will join us in about 15 minutes. She covers the Braves every day for Braves TV. We'll chat about where Atlanta is at. They are close to clinching home field advantage throughout the postseason. So we'll go over what Atlanta needs to do to win a World Series title. And Jordan, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just did that.
I did that. I hid his mic. Today he had so much time.
Oh, wait.
He got here. He
I
didn't
thought
have.
he was going to show his abs.
No, he has to live at your house to be able to
AJ,
see
don't
those
get
abs.
so excited on a Tuesday in late September.
Look how much he's staring at the screen. He's like, oh,
Hold on, wait.
Hour. I'm just
Hold on, wait.
sitting
Let me
here.
put my shady rays on so no one sees what I'm staring at.
Poker face. By the way, AJ, I was supposed to be down there. I'll be there tomorrow, and I delayed my plans. Why? Because the weather up here is just
We don't
so
want you.
lovely.
Nobody cares. That's
Yep.
why.
I just want you to know the weather in the Northeast is so lovely. I think
Oh,
it has
it's
rained
lovely.
for 40 straight days. It is just gorgeous up here.
Great, then
so
stay
you're
up there.
missing a
You're
lot.
welcome to stay up there.
I just wanted to let you know that you're missing a lot up here. It's really lovely.
he
weather.
needs vitamin D.
I'll be up there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Don't worry.
Will you?
Baltimore isn't Baltimore in the Northeast?
Oh, that is the
Technically.
Northeast. It's very rainy in Baltimore, but I wish I would have known. We would have gotten some good golfing in.
Anyway, if you missed me before, and I'm sure whoever is helping to cut the podcast later is going to be thrilled with how I started off the show. But Kelly Crull is going to join us, Braves TV, on where ATL is at. And Jordan Montgomery, former Erik Kratz teammate.
Yeah, the American
Oh,
Missile.
man. He's going to get paid this offseason. We'll remind him just in case he's unaware.
He's going to say, okay.
Is that what he's like?
Yeah, he's the best. He is a big goober.
I love watching him pitch.
He's very sneaky underrated.
I would agree with that. AJ, is Jordan Montgomery sneaky underrated?
Yeah, I'm going to ask him today if he's the new David Cohn. He gets traded every year for the playoff push. So where's he going to go next year? I mean, it's like he's the hired gun now. He went from the Yankees to the Cardinals last year. Now he's with the Rangers. I mean, where's he going to go next year?
I think he'll sign with the Cubs.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know
You
why.
just feel that?
I just feel like they're going to find a pitcher, but they're not going to go all in on like the biggest of big. Might be a really sneaky signing.
I like that. Go back to the NL Central and dominate. NL Central is basically decided, right? Brewers have it. Let's charge the damn mound powered by Teza on the desk. If you want one, you can order one. I'll tell you how
I'm
later.
throwing one in.
There you go. Keep tradition alive.
Actually, I'm throwing two in.
So let's start with, in my mind, the game of the night, and there weren't many last night, but Justin Verlander against Luis Castillo. Put a little money down on JV's side. Just had a feeling.
Just
Houston
JV?
can't-
Just JV?
No, just for the Astros money line, straight up. And the one thing that stood out to me, AJ, is the dude is giving them innings. That's the thing. Obviously, he was great too, but what? He entered the ninth inning, he was still 100 pitches.
You know what the most important part of that game was?
What?
They hit my bet, both of them.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Love that for you.
Is that the most important thing? Is that where we're at now?
Well,
We've
I
come
mean-
a long way.
I mean,
It's
I can't be down $2,000 to Kratz at the end of the year, so I got to try to make it come. But no, listen, this is why they went out and got Justin Verlander. This is Justin Verlander playoff push, 8 innings. They have to win this game. They just got swept by the Royals. They go to Seattle, and the offense showed out. Alvarez and those guys going big fly like they do. I mean, Alvarez hit a ball 6 inches off the ground, 430 feet. I think it was a changeup from Castillo. And listen, Castillo for the Mariners has been good, but this just shows you Justin Verlander, Castillo. It is like, wow. I mean, this guy went out 8 innings, 1 run, just dominated a lineup. And now, listen, the Astros are where they want to be. They're in a playoff spot. They're not at the division top. But hey, they're still alive. In a game they had to win, they threw their best out there. And Justin Verlander delivered. That's why he's going to Cooperstown.
This is why you trade for this guy too. There's no questioning if they need somebody on the mound, this is the guy. Framber's been up and down. Yes, you can say he's got a great year because he has a no-hitter this year, but he's been up and down recently. And when you have somebody that solidifies your rotation, I'm not even saying he's pitching game 1 of the playoffs. He's going to pitch one of the 2 games that they need to win, and it showed it because this lineup has been Brutes Magoots this entire last stretch of whatever it is, 10 games. But, I mean, Tucker at night, I mean, if people didn't watch the Seattle game, they dominated them. Astros dominated them. But it was rainy and misty, nasty weather there looking. And Jordan went 16 rows up. Tucker went off the top of the restaurant, or maybe the top of the scoreboard, but just below the restaurant, big boy homers on pitches like AJ said, that weren't even strikes. The one that Jordan hit, and it's Castillo has to be thinking, I was supposed to be the guy. I was supposed to be the Verlander for our skid that we've been on, and he was not last night.
Mm-hmm. It's a good call. And those guys, they hit good pitching, and they hit bad pitches sometimes. And that's where you're watching a playoff game or a World Series game, right? We've all been there before, and you're like, that wasn't a bad pitch, but that just tied up the game on a 2-run shot.
But what AJ said yesterday, they don't strike out.
Yeah.
In 17, the Astros figured out how to not strike out, and they have kept it. Whatever you want to say about the trash can scheme thing, whatever, they have kept that approach, and it is a reason they are a World Series team year in and year out.
Alex Cintron and Troy Snicker deserve a ton of credit as their hitting guys. I mean, let's be serious here. They came in, and since they've come in, yes, I know the trash can, that whole deal with Beltran and Alex Cora and that whole group, but since then, all they've done is go to the World Series every year, at least the LCS. It's not they had the trash can in 17, and now they've kept it going for the next 6 years. But I mean, every year you can lock it in. The Astros are in at least the LCS, if not the one in the World Series, and they won another World Series, which for me kind of solidified their place in history and also kind of got rid of the trash can rumors for me. I mean, I know fans are still going to go for it, but by winning that World Series last year, it should have kind of eliminated all the doubt because, I mean, 19 they lost in the World Series in Game 7, 21 they lost to the Braves, right? I mean, 20 they made a run when they probably weren't ready to. They made it to the LCS and almost came back from down 3-0. Listen, this team has done it for a long time in the core of Bregman, Altuve, Maldonado's been there for a long time. Now Alvarez, Tucker, it's been pretty incredible.
Yeah, the whole trash can stuff should just be stopped. Somebody said it on the show.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You're booing a uniform. You're not booing people.
Although loudest boos of the night last night
were for the Mariners.
No, there was one other. Yes, there was some of that, but there was one.
During that game?
Altuve got hit by a pitch. Oh, no, not booze. Sorry, cheers. Sorry.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. It's still a thing for people around ballparks.
It will still be a thing.
Yeah.
And I would have a hard time saying that Altuve was involved in that. He knew it was going on. Whatever that is.
It doesn't matter. Regardless, people are going to do what they're going to do.
He knew. I guarantee you he knew.
Oh, he definitely knew. Of course he knew.
He definitely knew. But, there's plenty of guys that say, oh, I don't want to know what's coming. He is one of those guys.
Biggest cheer of the night at T-Mobile Park. This is from Chandler Rome. Altuve getting dotted on the elbow with a full count fastball. That was late in the game.
Yeah, but that wasn't on purpose. It's just fans being fans.
Yeah, fans.
No, I know that.
Cheer,
I'm just saying there is still a villain component to the Astros until every player from 17 is not on that team anymore. Then maybe fans go into the next phase of life. Maybe.
I am going to mention.
I like it though.
I
think it's fun.
I'm not. It's kind of shtick. It's kind of just a shtick
from the fans.
Yeah, because I think we should focus on the fact that the Mariners, what was it, third inning, Julio was up. They were losing 4-0, bases loaded. The fans got on their feet. It was rocking. Yep. Might have been the fourth inning. I'm not sure which inning it was, but either way, it was rocking there in Seattle. And this is what Paul Sewell was talking about when he was on the other day, calling out Diamondbacks fans. This is where fans need to be out. They need to be in these situations to cheer their team on because the Mariners are going to need a lot more than just wins. They are going to need some help from other teams.
No, they're still in control. Win the next 2 games against Houston. That helps.
Okay.
I'm
not saying
it's right in front of you. Easier said than done, and it's definitely demoralizing when you've got Castillo on the mound and you get beat like that.
It's like spinning a wheel and you're like, oh, jackpot. And you just watch it come. Oh, man, we got to wait for it to come all the way back around. Jackpot. Nope.
This is what Houston does. It is.
It is.
Other notables from last night, Texas just bops the hell out of the baseball right now with their new look, old look lineup.
9
They're
homers.
Yeah, we were just missing some guys. We're good. Our lineup slays. 5-1 win over the Angels. They went back to back to back at one point. So they're not very much, but they're in control of the division right now. And then this is sneaky. I don't want to overlook this. Diamondbacks fall to the Yanks 6-4.
Very sneaky, underrated game from yesterday that put the playoff picture in the NL. There were some teams, the Reds were watching that, whether people think the Reds are out of it or not, or should be a playoff team. There was teams that were watching this and going, ooh.
Updated
We got a shot.
NL wild card. Phillies had the first seed wrapped up for a while, although it's not technical, but it will be
Tonight.
That's
my call.
Well, the wild card or the first seed?
First seed.
First seed. Yeah. But they'll be fine. They'll be hosting one of these teams. Arizona and Chicago tied for those second 2 spots. Miami on the outside looking in by 1 game. Cincinnati 2.5 games out.
Who do you want to see? AJ, who do you want? If you're the Phillies, who do you want to see of that crew finish second?
Cubs.
Way more than the Diamondbacks. That's a team I don't want to see. Is the
Cubs.
Diamondbacks.
You want to see the Cubs. Why? I mean, Justin Steele's kind of faltering down the end. Hendricks, I don't think Hendricks scares. Tyon, bullpen back into the bullpen isn't great for the Cubs. Their lineup, other than Bellinger, isn't that great really for the Cubs. I think the Phillies can go in there with Nola and Wheeler and whoever else their third guy is, and they can just bash him. They can just bash him to death and probably get it over with fairly quickly if that's who they end up playing. But if you got to face Gallen and Merrill Kelly struggled a little bit yesterday, but he's been so good for him. So if you get Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and then whoever they want to throw third, probably like a bullpen game, and with their athleticism, it's just a different animal the Diamondbacks are.
They're a pain in the ass team to play. The way they play, you haven't seen baseball in the playoffs yet with the tweaked rules. The Diamondbacks have been taking advantage of that all season. Things get heightened in the playoffs, so the Diamondbacks could be a pain in the ass.
Can we just say the Reds? I mean, 2.5 out. I mean, 3 out. They're done. I mean, I know they're still mathematically alive.
But the Padres were still around as of last night, which we'll get to.
The Padres haven't been around. The Padres haven't been around since April.
Yeah, well, reporters were on Hader's case, but we'll get to that later. But yes, let's do this, though, before we hit the break and talk to Kelly Crull. Blake Snell pitched last night against Logan Webb. Of course, the Padres losing a 1-run game is so classic. 1-run games and extra inning games. Some people still don't know about the extra inning stat, by the way, for the Padres. 0-13 in extras. But Snell was fantastic. Webb was better. 9 innings, scattered 9 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Snell went 6. It's Webb's second complete game of the season, and Gabe Kapler said his most dominant outing of the year, and said felt like a Cy Young outing. But most writer types on Twitter say it is over. It is potentially unanimous. Blake Snell is your 2023 Cy Young. He did not let up. He was ridiculous down the stretch. And the only conversation that you can have is about the innings and the length that he's giving in some of these outings. But he is giving you scoreless or 1-run ball every outing since, late May?
No, he's been incredible. He won it. He deserves it. The one thing is he doesn't go into the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. And listen, Gabe Kapler is nice. You're saying Logan Webb, whatever. I mean, it's cool. You're standing up for your guys. Logan Webb pitched a great game last night. But, you're talking about the Padres 0-13 in extra inning games. Check out their 1-run game numbers, too. They're like the second worst, I think, of all time. And what are they? They're like 10-25 or some crazy number. I don't know the exact numbers with 1-run games. But listen, it's just been historically unlucky and bad year for the Padres. And it just, listen, the one bright spot is Blake Snell, and he's going to walk away in free agency along with Josh Hader. They're going to sign somewhere else, and the Padres are going to be left with, a bunch of high-priced free agent hitters with no pitching.
I think it's honest. I think you were overshooting their wins in one-run games. I think it's like 6-25 now. That's incredible number. I didn't know it was a record or second worst ever.
I think I saw it's second worst since 1935. The 1935 St. Louis Browns, I think, something like that.
Oh, the Browns.
I know a lot of number crunchers that would just call that unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
No, they have definitely snatched victory out of the jaw, or defeat out of the jaws of victory a couple times this year.
That is not unlucky at that point. Blake Snell is the first pitcher with 170 plus Ks and fewer than 20 runs allowed in a 23-game span since 1901. The great Sarah Langs with the stat for us. He has 186 Ks and 19 runs allowed in his last 23 starts. That is insane.
Allowed, not earned runs.
Runs.
Allowed runs. It's incredible. They were showing stats, and it was funny. I was kind of laughing at Gabe last night because he stacked his lineup full of righties, and it's the lowest batting average against right-handed pitchers for a left-handed pitcher in the history of baseball if it doesn't go above, I think, 178, and it's at 176.
Wow. Props to Blake. I love when dudes get after it in their free agent year.
What about the other years?
He's fine.
Fuck the other years.
He's fine.
I just want my boys to make money.
It's going to be a lot of money.
He's
gonna get
MLB
paid.
best 2.25 ERA, and
By the way,
one less big-time starter on the market. Urias is going to be on the market, maybe, I don't know, but his value basically went to nothing.
By the way, I also saw where people were arguing, I don't know who it was, about Blake Snell and Hall of Fame possibilities that we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. Remember we said, I think it was with Russ, I'm like, is he a Hall of Famer? And I saw on Twitter, I think it was where people were arguing about if he pitches 5 more years and does this, is he a Hall of Famer? If he wins another Cy Young, because people were listing in Cy Young awards and how everyone is in the Hall of Fame and this and that. So, I mean, again, it's an interesting argument because other than his 2 Cy Young years, his years have been okay. They haven't been great, but those 2 years, he was unbelievable.
Do you think he goes to his next team? Because they said third time through, everyone else's numbers, go through the roof. Everyone's hitting 310, third time through. Hitters are hitting 161 against him third time through. You think he goes to his next team and says, you're going to give me $270 million. I want to pitch until I want to come out of the game. No chance?
No chance. Because his numbers are so low because he doesn't have to do it. He gets one hitter here and there.
You're saying he only gets to that third time through, and he only faces like 2 or 3 guys, and then they axe him.
I mean, that's kind of what the kind of way we've been doing. As soon as he gets any hint of trouble, I mean, the Rays did it. I mean, remember the World Series in 2020, Game 6? I was at that game.
Right.
I got COVID from Justin Turner at that game, so thanks. But yeah, I mean, that game, remember they ripped him out? The Dodgers threw a party when they took him out because they weren't hitting him. He could have gone 10 more innings. They wouldn't have got any runs off of him. Took him out. The Rays blew it, lost the World Series. But listen, it's been a thing for him his whole career. The Rays started it, and the Padres just followed suit by just not letting him pitch past really the 6th inning. And it's been effective. He's going to have 2 Cy Youngs on the mantle and a huge paycheck coming.
But that's what I'm saying. Now that it's been effective, now I want you to be a workhorse.
He's not that guy. He throws too many pitches. He walks too many guys. He's not that guy.
Yeah, but
if you look at his numbers, he's always at 100 pitches at the end of 6 innings. Like he's not efficient. He's not Logan Webb. That's going to go 9 innings, 98 pitches, right? He's 98 pitches through 6 innings, and maybe we can steal it out because they have a lefty coming up. It's a good matchup.
No,
but he's not
getting pulled at 80 pitches.
I get that, but why is 100 pitches his number? He's throwing all those pitches. Let him go. When AJ Pierzynski is the head, when he's the manager of the Orlando Dreamers, and Blake Snell signs there next year for $290 million. Hey, I want you to throw 125 pitches. He's gonna go, all right, bro.
Dare to dream. But if you like real life, get 20% off your first order with the code FOUL at TizaEnergy.com. No nicotine, no tobacco. This is our squad. Go grab some Tiza at TizaEnergy.com. Our first poll question of the day, scan the QR code on the screen or watchstadium.com/foul territory. We're tying in the Snell combo with our next guest who's going to join us in a sec. 1 game to win this season. Who is your starting pitcher? A 9-inning game. Blake Snell, Spencer Strider, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, or other. I just wanted to make sure, no one's like
Nobody's playing a 7-inning game. Thank you.
Thank you. Weird, the split doubleheader from years back. Kelly Crull joining us next on the Braves.
So I did a Mariners game a few weeks ago, and it was when in the middle of the Mariners, they were just hotter than hell, right? They were just winning every game. Julio Rodriguez was the best player in the world again. And I asked Scott Service on the manager meeting, I said, hey, do you worry that you guys, shot your shot too early? Like, did you shoot your shot and you are too hot too soon? And he's like, oh, no, I don't believe in that. We can maintain it. And now all of a sudden you look at them and they're like, their booster rockets had failed and they're like, falling back to earth. So do you guys believe in shooting your shot too early?
I do, especially for younger teams and teams that, they're not like the Astros, right? Who every year you expect them to get to the postseason. They're going to make a deep run in the playoffs and get to the World Series. I think for a lot of teams, when this is the Mariners made the playoffs last year for the first time in 21 years. And this time it's still fresh. Like, this is something that's still new to them. 2 years ago, they missed out on the postseason in the last week of the season, just like that was going to happen this week. And so it's not like they're used to going to the playoffs. It's not like they're used to these moments. And there's a lot of pressure that builds in September, right? August is still August. You play the best baseball that you've played all year long. Cool. Julio looks like Julio. Cool. But at some point, those games in September mean a little bit more. And they had a ton of games this month against their division, and it has not gone the same. And now you lose 1 or 2 of those games, you get swept by the Rangers, and now all that pressure's on. And what's ahead of you because you still have 2 more series against Houston and the Rangers this week. And if you don't win those series, you're going to be out. And you're going to start looking around like, man, did we wait too long to really make our move? And once we made our move, did we use all that energy? So I think it's true.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on FT Live on Stadium, Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski, and Kelly Crull joining us right now. You can follow her at Kelly_Crull and does a great job reporting on the Atlanta Braves for Bally Sports South. Also, just one of the best in the biz, both on camera and whenever you're covering the team. Doesn't just do this to one person. Anyone that's in town, Kelly, I'm going to brag about you for a sec. Helps you with information like, hey, I've been watching this team all year. Because I asked someone once, because she's always been helpful with me when I'm in town, like, hey, this is what's going on with the team. Does that to everyone. So just all around team player in the biz. Appreciate you. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm good. I'm excited for the last 6 games here and then what we grind through the entire season for the month of October. So I'm really looking forward to it, especially with this Braves team and seeing what they can do after such a spectacular regular season.
So we got into the pitching yesterday. So can you combine the thoughts in the last week on Fried and Morton with the injuries on the IL with how you think they combat that, especially in round 1? Let's say even if Fried isn't himself, right? Can't give them the amount of innings that he would want to. We were debating too, is this an elite bullpen in your mind where they can kind of bullpen their way through a game or 2 if need be?
Yeah. So I think to start with Max Fried, if this tonight were a playoff game, Max would be pitching. And I don't think it would even be an issue. He would pitch through it. I think he is not a concern really for them. They are just being extra cautious with the ability here to have the 2 weeks that they have to really, really get rid of that blister as much as it was aggravating him. But I don't think they're worried about him or concerned about him at all. And then you guys talk about the schedule of the NLDS this year for the National League. They get those extra days. And so you can still go Fried and Strider, and they're more than likely going to turn to Bryce Elder, see what they can get from him. Like you just mentioned, Scott, they got guys in the bullpen who are very good, who could cover multiple innings. That's where Kyle Wright is going to be, I think, to start the postseason. And if they need 3 innings out of him, 4 innings out of him, I think they could get that. I think they could get that from a couple of guys. Jesse Chavez can do that for them. Michael Tonkin can do that for them. And then while it will be Iglesias closing, it will be AJ Minter setting him up. there are other guys, plenty of them back there that have done that. So to your point, I think this bullpen, when it comes down to these games that matter so much, they will be dominant like they were in the first half. Charlie Morton is the one that you miss, right? I mean, the sprained right index finger. He gets 3 weeks. He's going to miss the DS. Can you have him ready? Can he be sharp? I mean, he is Charlie Morton after all. Nobody on this Braves team has pitched in as many postseason games as he has. You're going to take that experience any day if he can get healthy. It's disappointing. It's disappointing for Charlie. I know, AJ, you probably know him really well over his years in the league. He's just one of these guys that you'd like to see go out if this is indeed going to be it for him, with the opportunity to pitch in the postseason. So I think that's just probably right now their biggest concern is how ready can he be if they give him an entire full week, 3 weeks. And of course they have to get there, guys. So they need to make it to the NLCS for Charlie to be in play. But I certainly hope that's possible for him in his career.
Is the team nervous about what happened last year in the playoffs? Has there been talk of that? I mean, they're out here strutting their stuff in the regular season, but if you won 100 games last year, you were out before the NLCS. And is there ever talk, like real talk? Because Scott was saying that you have a lot of real talk. Like, did they ever say, oh no, we're losing some guys right here. They might not be 100% right before the playoffs start?
I see what you mean. And certainly I think if anything, last season and the way it ended has got to be motivation for this club. And as far as they're down a guy or, oh, Charlie's not going to be around. I mean, this is a team that won 100 games for the majority of the season without 2 of their horses. Like, they didn't have Max Fried and Kyle Wright for most of the season, and they were able to still end up winning 100 games, like you just mentioned. So I think they have a lot of confidence in what this offense can sort of carry if indeed they're not getting what maybe they would hope to from some of their starters. And that's a really good problem to have when you can turn around and say, hey, Ronald, hey, Austin, hey, Matt, hey, guys, let's pick up this pitching staff if we need to throughout at least the first round. But I anticipate, I mean, it's not too shabby to have Max Fried, Spencer Strider, and a guy who was an all-star this year pitching in games 1, 2, and 3 of the DS.
Yeah, not too shabby, also with the league's best lineup. So I agree there. Then bullpen, specifically late in games, what does the circle of trust look like right now? We know that always changes come playoff time. So, like, who are the, say, 3 or 4 that are circled, and maybe if there's someone on the fence, depending on how they look in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have your Iglesias closing. You're going to have AJ Minter setting up. I think they've been incredibly impressed with Pierce Johnson since picking him up at the trade deadline. I think he's going to be really big for them down the stretch. Their other lefty they're going to go to. They're going to keep Brad Hand for sure on that postseason roster. And then you've got the guys probably that you're going to be looking at in case you need length, like your Kyle Wright, like your Michael Tonkin. And the one that I think they're going to want to know, I mean, Jesse Chavez, you guys, has just come back from missing a significant time with that fracture in his leg. And he's looked dynamite. And of course, the 2 appearances that they've needed him. But, I think you still have to kind of wonder exactly where he is as far as how sharp can he be physically, like if they needed him multiple days, multiple games. So I think that's going to be something they're going to really need to be probably just the transparency between Jesse and the team is going to need to be there for that. But I think they feel really good about the majority of the guys they have right now and the ones that they've used here in the last month or so.
Who makes this team tick? Not who gets the offense going, not who comes out and throws 7 shutout innings. Who makes this team tick? I hate when guys always say, well, who's the leader? We have a lot of leaders. Who's the guy that makes this team tick?
It's a great question because there are a lot of leaders on this team. Anytime you've got a team full of all-stars, they all lead in their own way and by their own example. But I'm going to say Ozzie Albies, their second baseman, is the guy that makes them all tick because I think he has just this joyful presence and also is able to kind of push guys a little bit past maybe their comfort zone at times. He's just Scott, you've been around him. He's got so much energy and his ability to, as you guys know, with any clubhouse, galvanize the Latins, the Americans, the ability to speak. I think he speaks like 5 different languages, certainly helps. And he's just in the ear of every single guy. And sometimes I think when it comes to second baseman, Ozzy Albies is overlooked for the production that he creates on a night in and night in basis. And it is definitely felt, I think when you feel those guys that make you tick more than anything is when they're gone. And Ozzy was gone for about a 2-week stretch. He was dealing with an injury. And that's even when I could feel that, you know, his presence was needed back in that dugout, back in that clubhouse. Just again, I'll go back to the energy. It's infectious, it's contagious, and it's certainly felt throughout this clubhouse. So he's the guy I consider the one that kind of makes this clubhouse tick.
Yeah. And in the playoffs, I mean, he is a guy that can take it to another level too. He's played a lot of playoff baseball in his young career. Are him and Acuna still BFFs, like just as much as they were several years ago? Or, you know, like Acuna's got a fam now and all of that. I just remember when those two first came up in the league, like inseparable, every meal together, the whole thing. Are you still seeing that, especially on the road from them?
Yeah, to a degree, but like you just said, I mean, you know, their lives start to transition a bit. Acuna's gotten married. He's got a family now, like you mentioned, 2 young boys. And then Ozzy got married, and same deal. They are still thick as thieves, but the one I see Ozzy really connecting with this year is actually Orlando Arcia, right? Because there was that transition with Dansby Swanson, who they're going to see here tonight with the Cubs coming back to town. But he and Orlando Arcia have become very tight. The pregame workout that they go through with Ron Washington, they do that together, and they are just constantly picking on one another and picking on Wash. And it is just one of the most entertaining things to watch on a daily basis. But I think that's a big reason, though, Orlando Arcia has been so seamless as being the everyday shortstop, truthfully, to have Ozzy out there kind of encouraging in him, walking him through certain things. They, you know, get out there, turning the double play together and working through that. I think he's another reason that Orlando has been such a big part of this team and what he has done this year with an all-star season as well.
Kelly, Acuna's having a historic year, probably going to get to 40-70 unless something crazy happens. He's going to be the National League MVP. But how much has Mookie Betts having the year he's had? And even Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman. I know Olson doesn't get listed as much in that MVP conversation. He probably should get more attention. But has that fueled Ronald Acuna Jr. to be even better? Because every time he looks up, I mean, when they were in LA, it was Acuna goes deep, Mookie goes deep. Acuna does this, Mookie does this. I mean, it has to fuel him a little bit, right, to continue to go?
Yeah, I think, and you know this, anytime you've got those caliber of players on the field together in what is a big series, I think they do like innately push one another, like I'll up show you, or I've got this, or can you match that? And so it was fun. That series with the Dodgers was a lot of fun. You had 4 potential at the time, NL MVP candidates on the field at once. I don't think Matt Olson and or Freddie Freeman necessarily are getting the as much hype and talk this year as probably they deserve just because of the seasons Ronald Acuna and, like you mentioned, Mookie Betts are having. But when people ask me about it, and I know I'm going to sound biased because I'm the one who's covering Ronald Acuna Jr. every single night versus seeing what Mookie Betts is doing. But beyond the stats that you can sit there and look at numbers side by side, and here's what this guy's doing, here's what that's doing. I think any of you who have seen Ronald in person, like you understand, like, when that ball comes off his bat, he is one of those guys. It sounds different. And he's also a guy that when I think of the definition of most valuable player, and I think of who's the most valuable to their team, what Ronald does for the Braves lineup and the danger he is right off of the bat at the very start of every game. And whether or not it's him going deep, which he's done, I'm pretty sure 30 times or so this season, there in that first AB, he's on base, and that changes the entire complexion of an opening inning, which the Braves have scored more runs in the opening frame than any other team in the league. What he means and the tone he sets for this team when we're talking about an MVP is exactly what that award's about. I mean, it's tough to replicate, and it is tough to be the pitcher on the mound when Ronald's on base and he's looking for 69 and 70 this season, which has just been unbelievable to watch, you guys.
Obviously, they're locking up all, home field advantage throughout the playoffs, all that stuff. So the games don't really matter that much right now, except for that. But Ronald's got a little bit of Estuary Ruiz is only 3 stolen bases behind him. Are they going to let Ronald play if it is a close race? Does that race matter? Because the question is, what if he slides in and gets hurt on a play on the last game of the year because he wanted one more stolen base to get the stolen base crown for this year?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I mean, I really hadn't thought if it came down to like the last game or two. I mean, I honestly can think Ronald's gonna get 2 stolen bases in the next. I mean, it could be tonight, could be tomorrow. But I think with the Cubs in town playing with what they're playing for here tonight, and with Steele on the mound, I think you're going to see the lineup that you're going to see in the playoffs. And I think you're going to see Snip managing like this were a playoff game here tonight. So I think, truthfully, the next three games or so, if not the next 6 games, I mean, you guys have seen every guy in this starting lineup for the Braves has played nearly every single game this season. This is a lineup that is used to going out there and posting up every day, and they want to be out there. So I know that sure, there could be this, well, what if health concern? And that's been the biggest storyline for Ronald when you ask him, how has this season been possible and what's allowed you to be able to be putting up these kinds of numbers? He'll tell you it's because I'm fully healthy. I'm finally healthy. And I feel good for the first time throughout this entire season than I have in a long time. So that is what he'll credit the year to. So that's a good point. I don't see Snit really changing. If Ronald wants to be in there, he'll be in there. I don't think that changes, especially with the time they're going to have off once they get through these next 6 games. I think they're more worried about keeping guys sharp than they are worried about their health and how they're feeling at this point in the season. So,
Kelly, a little different thing here to ask you. Dansby Swanson went from Atlanta to Chicago. You went from Chicago to Atlanta. He recently said Cubs are a big deal and the Braves are a deal in Atlanta.
Walk that statement back a little bit. He probably would. I mean, it's hard to, AJ, because I was there when they hadn't won in 106 years. And that World Series championship parade, the entire city and what it meant was on another level. But that's not to say that what the Braves have done here and their fan base, I mean, it's equally as fun in these playoff games. I mean, this is an incredible sports city. So is Chicago. I think if you've ever basically gotten to live and or cover sports in either city, you've been very blessed, is how I'll put it. That's how I'll leave it.
Okay, perfect. Because I've done both, and just on the other side of town.
Yeah,
on the good side of town.
Answer.
On the good side of town. I was on the good side of town. You were on the bad side. But I mean, plus Wrigleyville and the Battery are very similar. A bunch nice Stanley. Bunch of beers, a bunch of bars and restaurants around. But here's the thing. When the teams go to playoffs, people don't know this. The local announcers, you guys kind of go away, right? So you're there for 162 games, and then we don't see you. And I'm sure you guys are doing a pre and post, right? Every game. So what do? Do you still go to the road games? Do you still jump on the team charter and go to Philly if they play Philly in the first? Like, it's got to drive you crazy because when I do national games, we come in and we're like, okay, guys, you're done now for the year. You had a nice run. Congratulations. The big guys are taking over now, right? But for you guys, it sucks because you guys were this team the whole year. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, the most important time of the year, you guys are gone. And I feel for you all. So what do? Do you still go?
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. You heard Scott mention I've always tried to be a good team player. So when Matt Weiner's coming in from TBS asking me for all the details on this team and that he's going to take over, I'm giving him the best possible notes so that fans at home are able to really hear the stories within the stories that aren't just, surface level. Hey, here's what Ronald Acuna has been doing all season long. Like at this point, I hope most baseball fans are aware of that. And I hope that, they're able to hear more about the team and a little bit further into another layer than just that top layer. But you're right. For a while, at least, I mean, gosh, this has been at least 10 years. Most of the regional networks will still carry that post-game show. And so I do still go to the field when they're there. I go through workouts. I'm still collecting interviews and all of that so that I get to go on the field if the team wins. And I would still be getting to do a post-game interview with them. And that is what they would roll into the post-game shows. Now, I think the landscape might be changing a little bit this year, just given the state of what some of the regional networks is going through. And that's a real shame because you know this as well as anyone, AJ. It's the audience at home that ends up, losing in this situation if they're not going to carry some of the more local productions and whatnot. But I'm still around quite a bit because, hey, the NBA season doesn't start for another month, you guys. So I will be attached to this team and doing what I can to still cover them and provide. I don't know, the behind the scenes stuff. I'll tell you what people have really loved this year, probably more than anything, is when I'm in that dugout and these guys go deep, score, whatever. It's those shots in the dugout of the guys celebrating that I think people get a kick out of because they feel like they're there. They feel like they're in that dugout getting to watch how guys have all their special handshakes with one another. And they're always coming up with something new as far as celebrations. And I think the audience just really gets a kick out of that.
Kelly, tell Gretchen to give up her salary, and then they'll be able to give you guys a post game, okay? And then less of Frenchie is always more for everybody. Less Frenchie equals more for everyone. So you should be good.
Fair.
Taking notes and passing both of those along. I'm sure that will go over really well.
Wait, just to bring the inside joke out, who's Gretchen, AJ?
Gretchen is the producer for Bally Braves.
Oh, okay.
Gretchen Kenny, she's been there, I don't know how long, but she's the producer. And then Frenchie is Jeff Francoeur. They're sometimes everyday analysts, but he takes more days off than anyone I know. So it's weird.
Yeah. It's Tom Glavine tonight. So, but Scott, Gretchen's our backbone. She's the reason but yeah, I'm sure she'll love to hear me say, give up half your paycheck.
Just show her the clip of AJ and she'll be like, oh, classic.
Hey, real quick though, like we're going to be doing watch-alongs. So it'd be great if you would join us for the watch-alongs. Somebody that knows the inside beat of the Braves.
I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I could have a lot of time on my hands here in about a week, so I would love to.
Let's go. There it is. Love the on-air ask.
Yep.
So can't
turn it on. Put me on the spot.
Kelly, this was awesome. Thank you so much. Enjoy the last week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Love being on with you. Take care.
Thank you. You too. That's Kelly Crull. You can follow her at Kelly _Crull. We'll post her Twitter on our Twitter as we do. And some of those clips, and we'll be right back on Josh Hader not pitching in a playoff race. I'm joking.
Now that we know that they were going to absolutely mess the bed in September, hey, they kept all the prospects. Good for them, bully for them. I don't know that there was someone who could have turned this season around. I don't know if I was a big Jordan Montgomery advocate, and he's done pretty well for himself in Texas. I think that would have helped. I don't think that would have helped them contend as of right now. They needed a hitter, and there just weren't any hitters that changed hands at the deadline.
Wait, so you're saying nobody at the trade deadline would have blipped the radar? What if Aaron Judge or Carlos Correa happened to have been on this team? Would that have pushed him over? Because you didn't bring up anything about the lineup. You talked about they're starting bullpen pieces all the time.
Yeah, no, they definitely needed another hitter or two or three or four.
You have to explain to me why the Giants, because you're out there, why would the Giants not be in on Shohei? What am I missing?
Oh, they're going to be in. It's more about Shohei. Trust. They're going to offer him. I mean, 9 figures. They might offer $1 billion. No. They're going to be. They're going to be in all the way. They're going to be one of the teams that is just begging him to come. It's up to Shohei though, and he's a guy that surveyed 30 major league teams, sat down, thought about it, and said, Anaheim, Orange County, that's where I want to be. And no one expected that. Nobody expected that. But he's got his own ideas. He came over when his salary was going to be the major league minimum because I know if I waited a couple years, I'll be a multi-millionaire, but I want to do this now. He's his own cat. And maybe he's got a fascination with something to do with the Giants. The Giants have a very creative plan for their starting pitchers. Extra rest doesn't bother them. They've got openers. They've got bulk innings guys. They've shown that they can be very creative. Maybe that appeals to them.
And now back to Foul Territory.
Back on FT Live, Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski. Hour number 2 features Jordan Montgomery of the Texas Rangers, who is going to be super, super rich this offseason. So for now, let's try and make everyone else rich. It is Tuesday. That means FT Heater. That means promo boost, okay? Your odds have increased thanks to Bet MGM and thanks to Erik Kratz and my hard work every single Tuesday morning. Justin Steele to record 5+ strikeouts and a Cubs dub was plus 200. We have boosted it. They have boosted it for us to plus 250. That's your FT Heater, which is going to be my lock to make it nice and easy for you. So check that out. We called it this morning, the Justin Steele redemption game, since he's been a little cold lately.
The redemption tour. If the Cubs want to do anything,
tonight
he needs to be the guy, and tonight needs to be the turnaround.
We're buying into that narrative. That's a big thing. When you hook onto a win and Steele to get the job done against the Braves offense, that's good. But not a ton of swing and miss, but there's some swing and miss. What do you think they are? Middle of the pack?
He won. They're 17th, I think.
Okay,
and
so that's about middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also hit dingers, so he might give him a few dingers, but
they
the
need
5
length.
strikeouts, they need the length, and he'll give it to him. He'll give him 7 innings, 6 punchies. He hasn't gone below 5 except for 1 start this entire year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see what happens. See if the Cubs pick up the dub. Let's get your locks presented by Bet MGM as we look back at yesterday. Just a nice, clean, tidy sweep. Kratz and me pretty much in the same boat. Kratz gets the plus money with the walk. And AJ, look at you go with the duel. You got it done, even though Castillo got touched up a little bit.
Love that. Love that for AJ.
That was a good one. Plus 200.
Exactly. Nice lock. Wow, look at AJ picking up the pace.
Doing it.
You're getting there.
Kratz is insane. Above 5. After the start that you had, it's like Blake Snell. Brutal through mid-May, and then just ridiculous Cy Young stuff. So we'll let you lead off today since mine's easy.
I'm blushing right now. Either that, I'm blushing, or it's the Tisa extra spicy cherry. I'm not sure. It's making me sweat. I'm going to the Red Sox Rays game. I got Tanner Houck for 4+ strikeouts and a walk. He's walked somebody in every outing since he's come back from the IL. And Eflin is going to give me 5. Since his return from the IL, he hasn't struck out less than 5 in any full appearance, Houck. And Eflin is a strikeout machine when it comes to the Red Sox. And that's coming out, I think that's coming out at plus 105. I'm not sure, but I'm putting 100 down on that, John.
Okay, well, we'll see the board in just a sec.
Yep.
I'm doing the FT Heater, so nice and simple. Give me those Steele 5Ks and a Cubs dub against the Braves. Cubs need it more. AJ?
I got another crazy one just for y'all because it's fun now. At this point, it's just become fun. So I'm going Reds Guardians game over 7.5. Why? Because Lucas Giolito and Hunter Green are pitching, and 7.5 isn't a big number. And 2, Lucas Giolito, 1 walk. He walks 1 guy every day, every time at least, usually. Hunter Green, 4 punch outs. That's it. I know the Guardians don't strike out, but he throws 100 with the 90-mile-an-hour slider. That should be easy. And then Giolito, 5 strikeouts. Why? Because the Reds strike out a lot. So, it seems pretty easy. And that gets me to plus 260.
Wow. How much you putting down?
Just 100. I'm just going to
Hundo for 260?
slowly climb up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big win. 100 on 260 is a big win. I love all that. I've just gotten burned too many times by Giolito. I've stopped betting against Giolito, so
I'm betting
it'll be good
for
for
him.
you.
I'm betting for him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's his last start of the year, too.
For him, with him, whatever. is going to be good for you because I'm not in on that at all.
Oh, maybe he's got Sunday. I don't know. Might be his last start of the year.
I mean, it's not the playoffs.
They're not in the playoffs.
They're not in the playoffs. There's your locks. Look, I get boosted to plus 250 for that.
I love that. I'm going to be tailing that in real
Hundo
life.
for plus 250? Yes, please.
I noticed you guys didn't include me in the heater again. One of these days, maybe.
Oh, you got to be in the positives. You have to have money in your pocket. Just saying.
I got plenty of money.
There.
I got plenty of money in my pocket.
He's got plenty.
Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Not as much as that guy.
Steamin' Willie Beeman.
Let us know, Mr. Beeman. The bonus code's FOUL, FOUL 200. FOUL 200. If you want the bet 10, get 200 instantly. When you place your first Bet MGM Sportsbook wager through the app of at least $10, you receive $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. You'll get those bonus bets there right into your account. Once you have a qualified bet placed, it's $200 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager, too. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. When we swing back, we'll go over poll results. One game for your life this year. Who's starting the game for you? And also Josh Hader's comments about the Padres' playoff chances next. Hey, Rowdy, have you ever played Immaculate Grid? Have we talked about this?
I was on it for a split second when we were playing the Mets because I had it on paper, and I didn't really know that this was a thing. I thought it was a Mets only, and then after those 4 days, I just never did it again.
Wait, they had the Immaculate Grid on paper?
Yeah, the Mets would print it off.
And
For
then
the
you
visitors?
and then you would write it in? Then you would write it in and you didn't get your percentage or anything?
Yeah, so I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I didn't know there was a percentage. So, like, I was putting in, like, the most – then I was doing it. I was like, dude, this is easy. Like, if you're a baseball mind, you can figure this out. I was like, this is easy.
You thought it was like a cross – they printed it out like a crossword. You didn't know there was numbers attached to it.
There was Sudoku, then there was crossword, then there was Immaculate Grid. And it was
The Mets put that in the visiting clubhouse?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, this is crazy. Like, reading it all, I'm like, oh, I could figure all these out. Like, God. But then the sad part was there was guys on our team, and it's the younger generation of baseball.
Yep.
Didn't know who players were. Like, couldn't figure out who played for each team. And I was like, you guys are brutal. Or like, who had 40+ homers for a team. And I was like, come on, guys. We got it.
Like they never watched baseball.
Also, they're handing out paper
to people on their
Zers?
phones. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably touch it. They're like, what is this? What is this?
They look at it and they're like, dude, never seen this.
Right? They're probably like, is this what I put my cup on? Like to protect the table?
Is this a
table
cup?
mat?
Is this what I put my Stanley on? What's the one piece of trash talk that you put on your first piece of trash talk that you put on JD when you saw him, or when you felt comfortable that he wasn't going to beat you up?
I wasn't scared of him to start with.
You're a little scared of him.
I absolutely was not. He walked in the clubhouse. He walked in the clubhouse and walked straight by, and I was like, hey, with a couple other words after that. I was like, when you walk in the clubhouse, you introduce yourself to your new teammates. And he goes, everybody knows who I am. And all right. Good. And then I was like, yeah, hey. And then when you see a former teammate, you say what's up. And he was like, hey, are you on the seafood diet? And I was like, yeah, good one. Seafood, eat food. Beat you to it. Fuck off.
And now back to foul territory.
Hey, let's close up the poll first. One game to win this year. Who do you want starting for you? AJ Pierzynski.
Garrett Cole.
Okay, same. You?
Yeah, same. I wanted a good debate. Garrett Cole, 100%. I don't even think it's close. Who's your second one, AJ? Garrett Cole already pitched, so now you got to win another game.
I'll take Strider.
Yeah? Strider against everybody?
He just gets too many strikeouts if he's on, and he can give you 7 innings. I love guys that can give you 7, 8 innings. Those are especially against a lot of these teams that are right-hand heavy. I'll take Cole and Strider.
Okay.
You guys can have the rest, and we'll go play a 5-game series and see who wins.
Nah, I'm good. You can have it. You can take the series.
We'll take Verlander.
Yeah, I think I can.
No, I mean, you can make an argument. No, 100%. 100%. But if my life's on the line, I'll take Erik Cole.
I think it's Cole. I think he's separated himself in the last few years, and then this season, like, whoa, he's really done it, and he's already got a lot of experience in big games. So unless G-Man Choi is on the team, I'm taking Garrett Cole.
Yeah, you just hit him. You move on.
He tried that. He tried that, and then the next time, dinger. He's hitting like 600 off him or something.
Right, so
I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of these guys on this list. I mean, the one thing we've already talked about it with Snell is just it's six innings, man. You better have some backer. You better have your bullpen lined up behind him. You know that going in though. So, and if you start in game one, everyone's fresh, okay. But gosh, it's something about Garrett Cole can give you 8 or 9. Verlander give you 8 or 9. Strider can go out and give you 7, 8, and punch out 15. I mean, it's just hard to replace that.
This is where I would say Strider might have a tick below these guys. All three of those guys, Snell did it last night. Verlander's done it his entire career, and Cole does it. They don't pitch at their max the whole game. And I think when Strider learns to say 94, 95, 99, like last night when we all needed Snell to, or me and Scotty needed Snell to get a punchy. Mm-hmm. He went Patrick Bailey. He went 93 first pitch heater, 97, 99. We'll see you later. And to me, I think that's where Strider, I think he can do it. I just don't think he does it yet. So that's where I have him, behind Verlander and Cole for sure.
We don't have time to do it for the next minute, but I'll just give you a sneak peek because I've been teasing it for like 8 minutes now. We'll go over the Padres-Giants game that technically you shouldn't really care that much about, but it's a good player-to-player conversation on Josh Hader's non-usage in the game yesterday. So we'll do that in hour number 2 to kick things off. We will definitely bring up Mike Trout's comments about the offseason because there's a lot.
There's a lot to dig into.
Some people were trying to totally say there was nothing to it, and here come the Angels fans. Here they come. They can't wait to hear what we say about it.
They love Scott Braun.
They love me. They love me. As I always say, please redirect your anger. I want the Angels to succeed. I want Artie to fail and sell the fucking team. Anyway, hour number 2 also will feature Jordan Montgomery, starting pitcher of the first place Texas Rangers. We'll get into his life being dealt the last couple seasons and landing on contenders, which is cool. But also for him, what the hell happened with the Rangers over the last couple weeks? Was it as simple as a couple bats coming back and now they're just scorched earth with their offense? So that's all coming up. Hour number 2 of FT Live on the Foul Territory YouTube channel. We'll take some of your questions too in the chat.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Can't wait. It's FT Live, Braun, Pierzynski, and Kratz, and Jordan Montgomery joining us in like 25 minutes or so. as we are in the last week of the regular season. So we will get into some hot corner topics right off the jump here, and finally can get into Erik Kratz's former teammate, one of the best closers in the game, Josh Hader, who refused to pitch in the game last night. No, it's slander. That's total bullshit. But paint the picture here. It's Giants-Padres. It's another one-run loss for San Diego. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning.
1-0
San Francisco down 1-0. And Robert Suarez on the mound, who they paid a lot of money for to be a high-leverage pitcher for them.
And has done really well recently. Started out the season boot nuggets.
Yep.
Came back from the IL, and it was second and third. Michael Conforto up. They wanted the left-on-left match. When I say they, fans. This was not.
Did fans want that?
Fans wanted the left-on-left. Media, whoever was writing this narrative.
Yeah.
And I've just been listening to you, and like this irritates me because
Go ahead.
this guy, I know Josh Hader, and I know what a competitor he is. And for people to bring up the narrative on, 6 games left, that this guy doesn't want to pitch if it's a playoff race, and they misconstrued his comments and saying, this is like a narrative that you can't just write about somebody who you've watched compete the entire season, an all-star again, Rolaids relief winner or whatever the award is now, Trevor Hoffman award winner. Like, this guy is a competitor, and to question whether he would have come out because then he said, oh, yeah, well, are we in a playoff race? No, the Padres are not in a playoff race. Don't misconstrue his words and say that he's not competitive and all this stuff. This is trash, and I think it should be brought up, and this narrative sucks that they're trying to slightly push this.
I kind of disagree with you on this one, Kratzy.
Okay.
Because Josh Hader's the guy who came out and said he doesn't want to pitch for 4 outs. He said it after his arbitration. After his arbitration, he went into arbitration and said, "I don't want 4 outs. I'm only pitching 3 out saves. That's it." And you can't say he didn't say it because the Brewers and him said it together. Josh Hader is only pitching for 3 outs. Remember last year in the NLCS, Robert Suarez versus Bryce Harper. Josh Hader was nowhere to be found. That was the 8th inning, right? 2 outs. Josh Hader was not. They were in the playoffs then. He only pitches 3 out saves. In the last 3 years, he's pitched 3 times more than 3 outs. And that was one of them was in the NLDS last year against the Dodgers. Other than that, he hasn't done it. So for people to say, oh, Josh, why didn't you pitch it? This is Josh's own words. They're using against him. He only wants the 3 outs, and that's fine. If you're a 3-out guy, you're at Mariano Rivera. Mostly was a 3-out guy, right? These guys are 3-out guys. Fine, perfect. They're not as effective the second inning. Whatever you want to say, but these are Josh Hader's words. And listen, Bob Melvin knows it. Bob Melvin has had these conversations with Josh Hader, and Josh Hader has told him, listen, Bob, I'm really a 3-out guy. That kind of ties your manager's hands. That's fine. The Padres knew what they were getting when they traded for him. Josh Hader said it. The Brewers knew it. So, I mean, the hate he's getting is not justified because this is what they knew what they were getting. But the problem I have is the reporters asking the question that they already knew the answer to, that they just wanted to hear him say it because they just wanted to have more excuses as to why the Padres are going to let him walk and he's going to sign a giant contract somewhere else.
Exactly. Like they knew he had said this before, but that's not who this guy is. The reason he said that before with the Brewers was because of what happened in arbitration. He got dinged because it was I'm not going to get into it any farther than that, but he essentially got dinged in his arbitration because, he doesn't have as many appearances because he's coming out and throwing. He was doing 2-inning saves, which in arbitration doesn't pay you as much as having 2 1-inning saves. So there's a little gamesmanship there from the sense of like health-wise and your longevity of your career. But in this situation, with the Padres out of the playoffs, I'll repeat it, they've been out of the playoffs, and asking him to pitch 4 outs when he hasn't done it. You said it yourself. He hasn't done it but 3 times in the last, 3 years?
Something like that, 2 or 3 years, yeah.
And the one time was in the playoffs. And last year, when Suarez had to face Harper, Bob Melvin said he didn't want to go to him. Now you can say it was Hader that didn't want. They're not calling down there, and Josh Hader. And I'm only saying this because I know him as a person. And they're saying, Hader, can you get us 4 innings? And he goes, Bob, I'm not your guy. Not your guy. Like, go to somebody else. That is not at all what it is. You're talking about setting up a game plan for your bullpen, especially this is what teams are doing right now that are going to be in the playoffs. Padres are not in the playoffs. They're setting up their bullpen, and they know how many innings they can get and how to script each game throughout different parts of the lineup.
Okay, so then part of this then has to fall on Bob Melvin, because Bob Melvin has to go to his player. And if you're saying, listen, I probably agree. I don't know Josh Hader like you do. I never played with Josh Hader. But if I'm on his team and I'm Bob Melvin, I'm going to the team and saying, listen, I know it's a long shot, but if we win every game, maybe someone collapses and we get in. So we're playing every game like it's the 7th game of the World Series. So, Josh, if I need you to go 4 outs, can you do it? So Bob Melvin maybe needs to ask the question. If you're saying Josh Hader won't say no, then maybe you go to him and say, hey, look, Josh, this is a one-time thing. I need you maybe to get 4 or 5 outs in this game. Can you do it? Then he knows. But so then that's Bob Melvin's fault. But again, for me, this goes back to Josh Hader saying it. Listen, I understand he was doing 2-inning saves, 3-inning saves, and it wasn't sustainable. And I get that. And he got dinged in arbitration. And then it became a big deal. And that's one of the reasons why the Brewers famously traded him out of nowhere last year, was because they were like, we can't only use this guy and it doesn't set up properly for the way Craig Counsell wants to use him. And I get it, money and everything that plays into it. But again, some of this has to fall not only on Hader for saying it, but then Bob Melvin for not going to him and saying, hey, Josh, we might need you for 4 outs, buddy. Can you do it? And I'm sure, like, if he's what you say he is, Kratz, and I have no reason not to believe you, he would have done it, and they might have got the win, and they might still be alive in the playoffs. Now, they're already out of it. That's not the point. But if you're playing, you have to still believe, no matter, even if you're completely dead and out of it, until that magic number is 0, you have to believe you have a chance. Or why play?
So then why did you ding Fernando Tatis for robbing that home run? He robbed that home run. He thought that was the robbing home run that was going to push their team into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of maybes, and my comments are more as a person, and I know what kind of competitor he is. And ultimately, they're not in the playoffs.
No, they're not
in the playoffs. And I don't think you disagree with me on that. But you're talking about internal conversations. I would have a hard time believing that Bob and Hader have not had those conversations because of how good of a communicator Bob Melvin is, and how much of a competitor Hader is.
Did you see Bob Melvin's interview after the game?
No, I didn't. See his comments.
They're talking to him. He's in his chair, and he's like, and they asked the Hader question. He's like, we had conversations about this, and it wasn't something that we can do. And he's like looking up, and you could tell it like totally made Bob Melvin's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, we couldn't do that because of the conversations we've had, and yeah, just not something that we can do here. And then someone else asked, and he's like, yeah, just we've had the conversation. And it was just like completely awkward, and he couldn't get out of the situation fast enough. So yeah, I'm sure those conversations were had, and we don't know them. But I mean, listen, they're out of it. And as far as the Tatis thing goes, listen, I have no problem with Fernando Tatis dancing and doing his thing after he robs a home run. He's played an incredible right field. Do what you got to do to have fun.
Wait, why'd you say Tatis? What happened? Why did Tatis jump in here?
No, because yesterday he said Tatis shouldn't be jumping around because it wasn't, they've lost however many games, all that stuff. And I was just like, so playing both sides of it in the sense that, like, Tatis, because they've been losing, because you said it yesterday, you're like, oh, well, because they're losing, should he just catch it and go?
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. For half the teams in the league right now, though.
Hold on, the Tatis thing is completely different because that's just having fun. That's not a game management situation.
Not a competitive.
That's not we have a chance to win the game.
No, I said it. I brought it up.
He brought it up. I
brought it up. He was talking about it.
Oh,
because the difference is the Hader thing is a competitive, we're trying to win the game thing. The Tatis thing is him just having fun in the middle of a terrible season, which great. Have all the fun you want. Just realize though, you guys have had a terrible season, and thank God for the Mets, or the Padres would be the most disappointing team with the payroll, right? But I mean, the Hader thing is a competitive thing that comes down to either communication from Preller to Melvin to Hader, or the other way, Hader to Melvin to Preller, pitching coach, whoever it is, But somebody said, hey, I can't give you 4 outs. And listen, from a player standpoint, I get it. You want to protect everything. You're almost at the end for free agency. He's going to get paid. Great. But it just, the reporters for asking the question they already knew the answer to, that's where the problem started.
Facts.
But they're reporters, and it was a question. Hey, this is a spot where you could come into the game. It opens up a deeper storyline that you guys are getting into right now. Like, for example, is arbitration bad for baseball? Creates animosity between player and team.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially creates a situation like this, right? Hey, team said, screw you. I say, screw you back. And I'm going to worry about my career and taking care of myself and contributing 3 outs. Now, at the same time, if I'm an owner this offseason, I'm spending money on Josh. Like, he has consistently been able to dominate late in games. And most closers, I would say, have more variance than he does in terms of your results, right? And maybe this has actually set him in a great spot in terms of durability. He is like, you want to talk know your role? This dude knows his role and knows how to take care of his body to be out there in the 9th inning. Anyone obviously can go through an injury. Obviously, you can talk about James Shields years back and be like, oh, you can eat innings with the best of them, and then gets hurt finally. But my point, AJ, if I'm an owner this offseason and I really need a back-end guy, I don't think that I am slighting Josh Hader at all.
No,
knowing that
I didn't say
he's
that.
not going to necessarily give me 3 outs in the regular, or more than 3 outs in the regular season. But just saying.
I think what AJ said, I completely agree with. Them bringing this up. Did they bring this up and we're not in San Diego. Did they bring this up in May when the Padres were struggling and there was a time? I'm sure there was a time they needed a 4-out save.
Sure.
Did they bring this up and was it a big deal? But now at the end of the year, and then I guess, Hader shouldn't have said what he said. Like, are we still in the playoffs? Technically, yes, they were.
But I appreciate the real talk right there.
Yes.
It's not real. You're not in the playoffs now. He's just being a realist.
And that's my whole argument with
we
them
want him to
asking
just say nothing. Like, I think we need to appreciate a dude that's telling it like it is. Well, every team's going to lose 7 in a row or something, and they're going to win 7 in a. Come on.
No, they're not. Listen, realistically, they're not alive. And Josh, I think if he could take this back, might change the way he said it. He might have said, well, I haven't done it all year. So now you want me to do it at the end of the year with 6 games left or something? I mean, there's a different way for him to have said it. I don't know. It was just a bad question that was only going to – it was whoever asked the question was only asked to do one thing, and it was to stir it up. And they did a great job of it because we're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it, right? And then they went to Bob Melvin and asked the same question. So then he's got to answer it awkwardly. So it just was a bad question by the reporter, and they have a job to do, and that's how we get clicks and we get this and that. But it just isn't a good question. You got 6 games, 5 games left, whatever it is for the Padres, and now you're asking Josh Hader why he won't give you a 4-out save. I mean, you should ask this in spring training and said, hey, Josh, if we need you to give us a 4-out save, will you do it? And he would have given you a different answer, right? But to ask this with less than a week in the season, it was just a bad question.
But they might have asked him that, and they just brought it up again in this spot. Yeah. I don't think it's a bad question, AJ. I'm going to defend my media piece.
Yeah, but here's the thing: how the Padres have gotten to a point, and Padres haven't gotten to this point because Josh Hader's been bad.
Correct.
It's been a lot of other things that have gone wrong for the Padres this year, and so Suarez has been okay for him, but I just don't think that Josh Hader not getting this 4-out save is the reason they missed the playoffs. But the way the question kind of was presented to him, it makes it seem like, well, gosh, we just missed the playoffs because you wouldn't get a 4-out save. Well, that's not the case. There was, we can come up with 50 reasons before we get to Josh Hader on why the Padres aren't in the postseason.
But that's my point. I just think that here's my take. The way this played out was perfect. A reporter asked a question. That's their right. I don't think it is like so blatantly out of left field or personal or anything else. It's a spot where maybe another closer would potentially be used. Josh Hader's also like, let's be real for a moment. This is not the time to ask that. We are not in a playoff race right now. He essentially said that. And I would go like, bravo, nice answer. And we move on, So I thought it was cool. I thought it was fine.
And that's why Scott would have asked the question, because he's like, man, I just want a real answer.
If you told me that,
finally got
ask
a
him
real
that,
answer.
I would ask him. And if he said that, I would be like, cool, respect. You're right. You guys are not in it right now. That makes sense.
No, as a writer, you don't have an opinion. You just write the facts. We've been told that the whole year.
Well, then you clearly haven't been listening to Fair Territory. It's full of takes. So let's get this one while we have a few minutes. And again, Jordan Montgomery will join us in about 15 minutes. Mike Trout asked about his injury last night and where he's going to be next season. And we have these comments to run back. So let's run them first, and then we will continue to kind of peel off layers of this story, because some people are saying it's not a story. It is a story, okay?
Frustration level knowing that this injury is keeping you out the rest of the way?
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's better now, obviously, but I wanted to get back. It's tough, so it's been hard on me. So, yeah.
Are these emotions because of the frustrations of this year, or is it compounding because of the
I
injuries?
just want to be out there. Yeah, the injuries. That sucks. I mean, like I said, all the hard work and stuff, and just freak stuff happens. So, but trying to stay positive. So. I go through this every year, so it's like I think there's private conversations I have with Artie and John, and it's like I said, I'm doing the same thing I did last 13 years, just going to the off season, clearing my mind, getting ready for spring, and wearing the Angels uniform in spring. So.
Do you feel confident in the direction that this franchise is headed in after the season now?
I mean, look, the last few weeks has been tough. I get that, but there isn't no one in here that wants to win more than me.
First off,
that hat's fire in the back. That's what's first off.
Yeah.
The Eagles hat in the back is
Take
fire.
it from Kratz hats.
Yeah.
Second of all, though, that emotion's real.
Have we ever seen him like that? Has there ever been an interview where we've seen him that honest emotion?
AJ? Do you remember any?
I don't ever remember seeing him like that. I mean, that upset, that emotional, that. I mean, he had to take a breath because he was about to start crying. Which, you want real talk, Scott? That was real talk right there.
I want that. That's real Mike Trout sitting there in a clubhouse where there is a teammate of his who does whatever the case is. If the tibia is fractured, whatever. Sorry, I got to bring it up. It's Rendon. He is not talking like that to everyone else. So.
And I love the.
Kratz, can you teach Erik how to use? Kratz, can you teach Scott how to use his mic, please? Because
I'm the tech guy here, but he refuses to listen.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
Who the tech guy is?
I think his pecs are getting in the way of his mic.
He's so limber. He's so limber that he's moving around in my beautiful setup that I have here. He doesn't have enough space. He needs a flag. Spread his wings at your house.
Just do it on the air. How's this sound? Is this better?
Better.
It should be better.
Just don't flex your pecs.
But
I'm going to remain calm here. I'm going to stay still the rest of the show.
What you were saying about how he's being honest and he just wants to be out there, that's what you want from your leader. And anybody who's going to play the narrative of, oh, Mike Trout, he's never out there, he's injury prone, all this stuff. This dude wants to be out there, and he showed it. He showed it in a very honest answer, got emotional about it. And if you are a player that doesn't play and isn't out there every day, we've heard it all year. Freddie Freeman wants to be out there every day. The entire Braves lineup wants to be out there every day. Those are ballers that want to be out there every single day. And if your leader, the best player in the game outside of the unicorn, Shohei, is saying this and getting emotional about not being out there to play in a season where they're under 500 and not going to make a playoffs again, you better check yourself on this team if you're not a guy that wants to be out there and pushes through an injury. He set that precedent for the rest of the time that he's a teammate of somebody with the Angels, or if he gets traded, which I felt like there was some alluding to not being real pleased of where the organization is going at the end of that conversation there.
I'm just going to say, somebody, I don't know, about a month ago or something, said something along the lines of, have a private conversation with Artie Moreno, go get coffee, go get breakfast, and maybe say, hey, it's time for me to move on. And I got absolutely destroyed by Angels fans saying, you can't get anything back from Mike Trout, and he's comfortable, and he doesn't play enough, and he doesn't care enough. Well, these emotions right here show you, one, he cares, he wants to play, he's frustrated because of his hamate bone. injury that takes longer than people expected to come back from. Also, I don't know if the private conversations he mentioned with Artie have already happened or they're going to happen. But again, if I'm Mike Trout, I sit down with Artie Moreno and say, listen, Shohei ain't coming back. He's not, okay? He's already in Japan. He's had surgery on who knows what because nobody will tell us he's had surgery. That's all we know, right? He's not coming back to the Angels, okay? You got Rendon. Seems like a good player. Can't play. Never gets on the field, right? Won't even tell us what's wrong with him, okay? And then you got some other young guys that they've called up that have done a nice job for him. But are the Angels going to compete in the next 2 to 3 years with the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners? Probably not, right? So again, Mike Trout, it doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to stand in front of the cameras and say, I want to be traded. Go to Artie Moreno and say it privately and get something done to where you can go play for a winner. You deserve it, dude. You've given 13 years of your life to the Los Angeles Angels, of Anaheim, right? You've given them 13 years. You have gotten this many playoff wins. 0 in 13 years, right? It's time. And listen, I'm all for guys staying in an organization their entire career. And Joey Votto, we saw what happened with him, and Derek Jeter and all these guys. But they were trying to put good teams out on the field. And the Angels are trying. They're just not doing it well. And you could almost feel it in those comments. And again, you guys know Mike much better than I do, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. But it almost felt like, who we have on yesterday? We're like, it felt like the end. Joey Votto, right? It kind of felt like the end when he was giving his comments after the game. Well, this almost, the way Mike was talking, it almost felt like a breakup was inevitable.
So there's so much going on here in the comments too. People are like, Trout requests a trade. Angels will leak it. No way it stays private, from Matt Mays. And I was like, they'll definitely leak it because
they're the kings of that.
The PR
kings of it. They're the kings of that, though. The Angels are the kings of taking stuff that shouldn't be told and just, this slipped out a little bit.
That comes from the tippy top. By the way, AJ, quick clarification. Otani's still apparently with the ball club, so not in Japan yet.
Oh, okay. But he had surgery. Does anybody know what he had surgery on?
I thought they said it was the bracing, the internal bracing.
Oh, did he?
I thought that's what came out. Hey, believe me.
It's a little mysterious.
I thought I made up a tweet earlier today. So
it's an elbow surgery. It's not Tommy John. We're not doctors. We get it. He's not going to pitch next year. He's going to hit. We love him, which is true. But he's not going to be on the Angels.
But he's not going to be. It's not going to be on the Angels.
No, he's not. So here's the thing. So Sam Blum writes about this team, Real Talk, and gets dinged for it. Right? They don't let him do the radio show. That's Jeff Fletcher, his rival. Those two do a great job covering the team. They're not restricted on covering the team, at least in terms of what they write. I don't know about the access, but Blum said in his story, quote, Trout declined to say outright that he would not be requesting a trade despite being asked in different ways 3 separate times. So Sam is in the room and he is putting that in his own story. And then here is the quote from Trout, which I guess we saw, but I go through this every year. These are private conversations I have with Artie and John. Those are the owner and the president, John Carpino. I'm doing the same thing I've done the last 13 years. Going into the offseason, clearing my mind, going into spring, wearing an Angels uniform. I think many people look at that and say, oh, he's definitely going to be an Angel next year. No. That means that that's what he is supposed to do. They will have conversations this offseason. We'll see what happens. And in my mind, if Artie says to Trout, hey, dude, do you want us to try and explore a trade? I actually think Mike will say, yes. If you explore a trade, let's communicate on this and let me see what you got. Because unless I'm crazy, the next few years don't look promising.
You don't think Logan O'Hoppe and...
I love Logan O'Hoppe.
I think Logan O'Hoppe's having an unbelievable month.
O'Hoppe,
8 homers.
Neto. There's a few. Shanwell, yes. There's a few dudes
and
that
Artie
look very
Moreno
promising.
Will never buy pitchers.
There's
his words.
Well,
we're talking about
Kratz. Starting pitchers
don't play
basically pitch once a week. Why am I going to give my hard-earned money to an asset that does not deliver daily returns to my business?
I can't. Like,
that's real. Okay.
That's his quote.
That's real. Let him come out and dispute that because he has said that. That is real.
I don't see how he could sit there and say, I would love to stay unless The family's comfortable. He's comfortable. And this is where it doesn't make him a less competitive person. You saw that in his emotion in the interview about wanting to play. But I don't know how, if Artie comes to him and says, how do you feel about this? How he would say, I want to stay. I think I'm going to ride this thing out. We'll be good in the next 5 years.
I think he cares, AJ, about legacy. Also, for anyone that's a Trout hater right now, like what, you're hating on some recent injuries?
Stop.
Get the fuck out of here. What he did for the sport for a while. And also, like, when he was on the field this year, he was still pretty damn good. And I still think he's got good baseball left. Is it his prime? Is he a little past his prime? Maybe. But do you know what past your prime means for Mike Trout? It means you're still a superstar. So in my mind, AJ, if Artie says, hey, dude, Philly's on line 1, we can work something out. Want to go? What do you think his answer is?
I think it would be an easy yes. Now, the question is, what does the package look like? Because the real question we got to get into, if we're going down this road, how much is Artie going to have to pay this contract to get something back? Because if you just say we're going to give Mike Trout, I don't know exactly how many years he has left. You guys, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think he has, six or 7 more years left on his contract?
Yeah, 2030.
So 2030. Okay, so he's got
7.
7 more years left. They're going to have to pay that down in order to get back any sort of return, because much like the Albert Pujols contract when it was signed, you start getting to, he's a center fielder. He's probably going to have to move from center field eventually. Injuries happen when you get older, whatever. But we get to those last 3-4 years, and it's kind of look at Miguel Cabrera, right? Look at even Joey Votto, right? These long contracts kind of come to an end. And you're like, oh, we paid for the early years, and the back end is just kind of bonuses. Now, if you're Mike Trout, you're like, well, if I'm in Anaheim, I'm going to hit 500 homers, 600 homers, whatever it is. Start hitting those special numbers like Pujols did. Then you can monetize that and get money back. But if you're going to make a move and you're going to trade him, 1, you have to get Trout's approval because he's a 10-5 guy, full no trade. And 2, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get rid of him. So is Artie Moreno, the guy who Scott just said doesn't want to pay a whole lot, is he willing to pay it down in order to get a haul back? That's going to be the hang-up for me. Are there teams out there that would take Mike Trout right now? Oh, hell yeah, they would. And it'd be all over Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and everything, right? It'd be all over. Oh my gosh, the Phillies just traded for Mike Trout, right? Or, the Marlins or the Blue Jays or the whoever. Oh my gosh, we got Mike Trout. It'd be the biggest deal ever. But how much is Artie going to pay, and is he willing to do that?
I disagree a little bit there. I don't think they have to pay a ton down. 2 questions for you.
They're going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay it down.
Also, trades always depend how much a team wants to pay down versus give up prospects. So using Philly as the example, because that's near his hometown, Philly's got a lot of money. They're going to make a ton of money this year based on their attendance, their results, their TV contract. They're thriving there, and they would love to have him. My question is, A, if Mike Trout was waived today, would anyone claim him for the full contract? And B, if he was a free agent, what would his number be? Start to think about that, how close you get to the number that he's at.
I don't know.
37 a year? You don't think somebody wants Trout for 37 a year for the next 7 years? A 7-year contract? No?
Nope.
You don't think close, though? You don't think it's close?
You're going to have to pay it down to get rid of it.
So you would pay Trey Turner more than you would Mike Trout.
I'm just saying, if he went on waivers today, I don't know that
take him.
I don't know that anybody would claim. Okay, well, let's start going through the teams.
Disagree.
Let's see. Go through the teams that could afford him. First, you got to start with the teams that can afford him. Because already before you start, there's like 20 teams that are out.
They're gone. Pirates not getting them.
Pirates, Marlins, Braves, Reds.
Yep.
There's a whole slew of teams before you even start that are already out on the Mike Trout thing.
Yep.
Okay, you can probably throw the A's, Padres because they're already obligations, right? Even the Phillies have huge obligations still on the books for years.
Yeah, but the Phillies would take that deal right now.
I understood,
for
but
free,
I'm saying, understood.
They would take that deal.
Yankees, right, would be one that would take them, right?
Easy.
Mets, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
Yankees, Mets, Phillies,
Red Sox. 3. But again,
4.
okay, so if you do all this work now, if you're the Yankees now, okay, yeah, we're going to get Mike Trout for $37 million. We got Judge on the hook for $40. We still have Stanton. We still have Cole. We just signed Rodon. right? We don't want to go.
Take the Yankees off. Take the Yankees off.
Okay.
I still got at least 5 to 7 teams that I think the Cubs. I agree. Cubs right now. Hey, free Mike Trout. Want him? Book it.
Okay, but they haven't shown the propensity to spend like that.
They will though this offseason. They will.
A player like Mike Trout is not available all the time.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, listen, do I think teams should do it? Absolutely. Do I think teams will do it? Probably not. And also, they'll also know that if it gets out that Mike Trout is on the market, okay? And as we've all said, the Angels will figure out a way to leak that, hey, Mike Trout requested a trade. And they'll make Mike look like the bad guy, okay? Somehow, some way, if this gets out and this becomes true, and we're not saying it's true. So before everyone says, oh, they're saying Mike Trout wants a trade. No. What I'm saying is if this gets out, the Angels will make it so Mike Trout is like, I'm demanding a trade or I'm not playing, which Mike would never do. I don't believe that at all. Okay, Mike would go to Artie and say, hey, if we can make something work, great. If not, I'll be an Angel for life and be happy. Okay? The thing is, if teams found out that this got out, they know Mike Trout's on board, then they have Artie by, as they say, the old short hairs, right? Because they're like, yeah, pay it down or we won't take him or you're stuck with him. Because obviously he wants out and we know you're going to have to move him. So you want our good prospects? Give us $20 million a year to cover it.
No, he won't do that. He is not covering $20 million a year.
Well,
I'm telling you.
Then he's not going to get a return.
Happen. A team like the Phillies or Cubs, if this is real, if Artie's legit, they're going to say, we will pick up the contract or most of the contract. You are not going to get a ton back. This is not a Juan Soto trade or anything close to it. We will give you maybe one upper echelon prospect and one A-ball lottery ticket, not 7. And we will take most of the money. That's what I think will happen, if it happens. Agree?
I say they'll pay down $25 million, and then
total
from the Phillies. From the Phillies, they would get either Andrew Painter or Mick Abel. So one pitcher. They would get a player like Alec Bohm, maybe like a
not a major leaguer. No freaking way. Just prospects.
And that would be it.
No, not
and
a
that
major
would be
leaguer.
It. I think that's what I'm thinking they would get, and they would basically pay for that $25 million would pay for those prospects, for those players fitting in, because you need to put in a major leaguer into that package. Like a guy like Alec Bohm, I think is a great player. He's going to hit 100 RBIs this season. He's like a 770 OPS type of player. You're not talking about an all-star.
Yeah, but you don't need to trade a big leaguer. You trade prospects. Mm-hmm. You don't need to trade a big leaguer.
But at some point, the Angels want something.
Yeah, prospects.
Yeah, but
I don't think they trade big leaguers in a trade like
so
that,
do they
especially
take
in the offseason.
So do the Angels take a Mick Abel or Andrew Painter, or do they take 3 of their top, 5, 6, and 12 prospects from the Phillies? You know what I mean? That's when you get like, do we want the one guy who's going to be a pitcher in our rotation, whether you think he's a 4 or 5 or a 2 or a 3? Is that what you get for Mike Trout? Because he's already screwed up the not trading Ohtani thing. Like you can't keep screwing up not getting anything for the players that you have.
Sure you can. Sure you can.
And Mike Trout is not. I don't believe Mike Trout's on a decline. He has played through whatever he's played through this year. He has an 858 OPS. Before this year, he had, what his lowest OPS was, or as Scott loves to say it, the OPS plus. Lowest ever was the 2020 season. He had a 167
that doesn't even
OPS
count.
plus.
2020 was 8 games.
Last year, 176. Year before, 194. He has a career 994 OPS, and that's brought down by this year's 858.
You are missing a lot of teams, too. We just went over a team for 25 minutes yesterday that I think would beg to take every fucking penny of his
He doesn't want
contract.
to go to San Francisco.
I understand that, but I'm saying if the Giants called Artie and said, listen, we will take every fucking penny of that contract and give you 2 prospects.
And Mike Trout goes, yeah, I don't want to go there. Sorry.
Okay.
That's fair, but
that's not the argument.
What we're also not considering is he has a full no trade. So if they go, hey, by the way, Mike, Oakland decided they want you. He's going to go, yeah, Artie, beat it. Like, go kick rocks, Artie, down the street in Anaheim. I mean, there's so much in play here that the problem is that if there is ever a trade that, first of all, the Angels have to find someone to take them, whatever it is. meaning whether they want to meaning they get the package back that they want, and 2, then they got to go to Mike. Because what happens if Mike goes, you know what? I don't really want to go to Philadelphia. I want to go somewhere else. They do all this work. I mean, it'd almost be like Mike would have to go to him and say, here's a list of 7 teams I'll go to. Figure it out.
That's fair. I mean, I've obviously never been in those type of negotiations, but I think he would go to, I think a lot of teams would pick him up more than you would think.
It sounds like a wild off-season combo too. I mean, obviously it's hot right now because you brought it up, but this is why I keep saying this could be one of the best off seasons ever. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that like just pumping up baseball. Every season's best season ever, best off season ever. No. Ohtani free agent, Trout potential trade, just that alone is crazy. I know there's not the same depth of position players available. And in that way, I think it makes it even more interesting with Trout, because it's not like teams are looking going, oh, well, there's a million superstars that we can pick up this offseason with just money. There's not much available. Obviously, Ohtani's in his own world. Bellinger is there. After that, it is a big drop-off. It is. Chapman.
Our next guest. Our next guest is
talking position players.
There's some good listen, there's some, I mean, you got Snell, you got Montgomery, you got Hader. I mean, there's some Stroman possibly.
Good.
I mean,
but
the
superstar
pitching is
franchise position
the pitching
players
is definitely better than the hitter side. Bellinger and
Ohtani.
Yeah, but Ohtani's
Matt
a different
Chapman.
animal. Chapman, okay. But is Chapman a superstar franchise-changing player?
It's borderline.
I think there's a question. I think before you would say he was. I think the last 2 years would say, I don't know.
The pitching's much better because, I mean, you've even got Yamamoto, who I think is going to be a number 2 starter in the league. Obviously, if you're buying that Nola just has been missing over the plate with 2 strikes here and there, but you like the strikeout to walk ratio and still think that all the past looks good, maybe Eduardo Rodriguez. There's plenty of pitchers available.
Here, lock it in right here, both of you. Does Trout get traded this offseason?
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Artie won't do it.
You answer.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No.
As
much as I want to, as much as I love this conversation and being able to see this guy play on the East Coast every single day for a contender, I think his game will be elevated if he's on a contender. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying no. Artie won't do it. Artie messed up Shohei. He's going to mess it up again.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, he hasn't done too many things right, has he?
Stay consistent.
He is not. This is where Angels fans need to all just, sing Kumbaya. We all get together. We hold hands. We put our hands, around each other and at the bar, get drunk and say, let's all just hate the same person. Anyway, let's take a deep breath, put on your shades, and get ready because Jordan Montgomery is going to join us in a minute. But first off, a shout out to our friends at Shady Rays, who have you covered with premium polarized sunglasses that will not cost you Mike Trout level contract. There it is. I'm coming back tomorrow for those shades.
These are still mine.
Coming back tomorrow for those shades.
Shady Rays, actually, that's part of the Lost and Broken.
Yeah.
He said, find your friend, get him from the Lost and Broken person.
I changed my locks.
You can't change your lock.
Lock. Get out of here.
No, not my betting lock.
Oh, what?
My lock in my house, so Scott can't get in. He's
got
to
you
stay
changed your lock. And I'm not coming.
Oh, great. I mean, great. Okay, yes.
I'll stay up here in the rain. Fine.
Right.
If
Awesome.
you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back way after you make the purchase, which is important. It's not just like buy it and then buy. Oh, no customer service for you. It's quite the opposite. And that's why we're working with them all season long and giving you the best promo code FOUL, FOUL at shadyrays.com for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Monty, ready?
Monty's on his way. Monty's on his way.
Okay. I didn't hear. Sorry.
No. He's getting it ready. Giolito, your guy.
You want to do a quickie that's what he said on what Judge said?
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
The captain?
El Capitán.
Aaron Judge said, quote, there we go. That's what he said. We've got a lot to work on. a lot of things to change and a lot of stuff going on around here that needs to be fixed. Asked for specifics, he said, we'll keep that in-house. So this is a show that's dominated by player hosts. What does that mean?
Call them dudes out, bro. You're the captain. Let's go. Call some
No,
people
he's
out.
not going to do that.
I know. I'm joking. I know he's not going to do that.
But does that mean it's
you
a
want real
drastic
talk, though,
situation?
Scott?
I know. I want real talk. I mean, AJ, for me, like he could have just said, hey, we had a bad year. We got a lot of dudes coming back. We'll be fine. He said there's a lot of problems, a lot of things that need to be fixed. To me, that's a guy who's usually, pretty calculated and calm, saying he's pissed off. He thinks that there needs to be some whatever, turnover, strategical changes. I don't buy the whole, let me hire an analytics group to analyze our analytics. The thing from Hal Steinbrenner drove me nuts. But what do you think he means there, AJ?
I think he means that they need to fix their injury problems. They need to make some changes, like they already said about their analytics department, which has already probably started. And I think maybe he's thinking we need to make some changes in the way we develop dudes. We've talked about it on here. I mean, listen, Dominguez comes up, he's on fire, he blows his elbow out. I mean, listen, that's just an act of God at sometimes, right? But it's like, all right, how do we make these kids ready when they get here? And the one thing the Yankees used to do is when they'd bring dudes up, whether it was a Nick Johnson or a Shane Spencer or whoever it was, they fit in, right? Ricky Leday, they'd fit in with the guys. It's like a lot of the guys they've called up the last few years have been a little bit overwhelmed by the moment. And I think, that needs to change. They need to work on their injury prevention. That has to change. I think maybe the philosophy of what they have as an organization needs to change. They need to get more athletic because they were at the beginning of the year just a bunch of like bulky, hulking, lumbering guys, and that didn't have a lot of speed, didn't have a lot of movement, didn't steal a lot of bases. Maybe that's what he's talking about. There's a lot of things, if you look at the Yankees, that need to change if they're going to get back, especially when you look at the Rays, you look at the Orioles, the way they approach it, even the Blue Jays, and heck, you can even look at the Red Sox. For as bad as they were supposed to be, there's some positives on the Red Sox, and guess what they have? Money to spend.
AJ, you weren't a captain. You were the leader of a team. Have you ever gone to ownership? I'm not exactly sure who Judgy said he's going to go and talk to. We're going to have. Did you ever have internal conversations? Because this was never a position that I was in. I was like,
yeah,
you guys,
yeah.
I don't want to talk to those guys because they're going to fire me.
No, when I was with the White Sox, I was very fortunate. I had a relationship with Ozzie and Kenny and Jerry, and they would come and it wasn't like formal conversations. No. But let's say we had a less of a year, they'd be like, hey, they'd sit down with Konerko and Tommy and Dye and some guys and say, hey, what do you guys think about like this or what about this? And they'd say, what do you guys think we need? Do we need this? Do we need that? And it was nice to have a little bit of a say so in things.
And what did that look like? Were they like, hey, we need to change? Like, would you say, hey, we got really slow this past year. We were really slow. Or the pitchers we called up were never ready. Not saying that you were like axing pitching coaches from the minor leagues, but like you said with Judge, the last few years, they're calling guys up and they're not producing. The guys that they're calling up to fill in for a few years there, they were calling up minor league guys that would produce, and they would pick this team up for a good portion of the season, fighting through some of these injuries. And the last few years, they haven't had that. Does he say, hey, what are we teaching these guys in the minor leagues? Did you ever have that conversation with those guys saying, hey, we're lacking this, and then, they made that change and now you guys improved on it?
Well, the thing was, I had conversations again with the organization, and the conversations were, you came up with the Twins and they just bring dudes up left and right and they all fit in. How did they do that? And I'm like, well, they did it differently, I know, than what I've seen here. So we need to change some things. And they tried to make those changes. I don't know that they fully ever, because the thing is when you're an organization and you have things a certain way, right, for so long, it takes somebody to come in and basically just be like, I don't care about what people think about me. I am blowing this up and I am making it my own. And if some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it. But within a year or two, I'll know who's on my side and whether it's working or not, and have to have the guts to do that. And I don't know that a lot of organizations have the guts. And I don't know if there's enough people out there that are willing to put their neck out there and say, this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to change everything. Because most of the time, listen, it's easy, as we know, if you're a person in an organization and you're brought in, you just want everyone to like you first, right? Everyone's like, oh, I want everyone to love me, and I want everyone to be happy. Instead of like, this isn't working. Let's change A to Z, everything. Let's completely put it on its head. And I just don't know there's enough people out there that are willing to do that, because most of the time now, people need these jobs and they're very coveted. And so they're not willing to put their neck out on the line. They'd rather just make small changes that they hope will work. Hey, I'm trying. Let me keep my job for another couple years.
That's trash. I hope that's not the case of any team that I'm rooting for. If I'm a fan, but you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, I totally do. But I was never in those conversations. The only kind of conversations they would have for me was, hey, you were at the Rays. What are some good things that they did?
Yeah.
And that was it. Like you're the starting catcher.
We never got into specific stuff. We were never like, hey, do you guys think we should bring in Jordan Montgomery? And I was always like, hell no, that dude sucks.
I would bring in Monty 100%. The American Missile is who we need.
I would at least bring him on FT Live to make his debut.
Oh, at least twice on FT Live.
Best digital show.
Oh my goodness!
Right after a big swig of coffee. How you doing?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Great. Better now. Kratz, you want to introduce your boy?
You look way more handsome now that you're about to be a free agent. I just had no idea. Before, when we played together, that smile, you always had that smile. But now look, your hair, you get married, your hair is beautiful. You're trading teams all the time. AJ called you earlier. He called you the David Cone of a left-handed David Cone.
Oh, man. Y'all too nice.
Does he even know who David Cone is? But then I forgot he pitched for the Yankees, so he definitely knows who David Cone is.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you do your hair for this interview?
Nah, I'm just ready for the bus. Try not to show up, look like a bum.
Hey,
too late.
Let's start nice and simple. Let's get your good analysis on what changed with the Rangers from a few weeks ago to now. Was it simply you guys were missing a bunch of your big boppers, and some of them are back, including also a newbie in Evan Carter, who looks pretty good at the dish?
Man, I don't know. Baseball's funny sometimes. I mean, we went on that streak where I felt like we were just kind of rolling teams, and then all the momentum was gone, and Cleveland came in hot. So, I mean, having Jungle Cat back and Carter stepping up and Adole healthy is clutch. But, I mean, y'all know baseball can just baseball you sometimes.
Yeah, baseball will baseball you. Speaking of baseballing you, when you got traded, they threw in, the other teams threw in Max Scherzer. You were the big piece that they wanted to trade for. Did you know that you were going to have to anchor this rotation into the playoffs as the first place team?
Nah, I mean, full of studs. You got Evo, you got John Gray. Unfortunate Scherzer getting hurt, but knock on wood, if there's any way we can get him back deep in the playoffs. But I was ready to get traded over and dominate for whoever I went to.
What are the chances in your mind that Mad Max makes a return at some point? You're around him. Is he going, let's go, guys, get me to the CS, and then I'm coming in with my cape?
I don't know, man. He's such a competitor. I wouldn't be surprised by anything if he just showed up and was like, hey, I'm pitching today.
Is he around? Is he around the team?
Oh, yeah. He's awesome, man. I don't know if y'all have ever gotten to play with him or be around him, but he's just he's a solid veteran to have around for sure.
He's on this show frequently. And AJ, you know him quite well.
I know him well, yeah. So, Monty, I just love what you just said. I'm going to go wherever and dominate. So, are you the new hired gun? Like I said, are you David Cone now? You're just going to sign a one-year deal everywhere?
No.
And then you're going to say,
I hope not.
Trade me at the deadline to whoever's in contention, and I'll lead you to the promised land?
Nah. Gosh, I hope I don't get a one-year deal. But, yeah, I mean, I got traded over. I took CeCe's number 52, and I was ready to do what he did with the Brewers. So
I love it. You took CeCe's number. CeCe's definitely seeing this and being like, wow, my little pupil. But honestly, CeCe got some Cy Young votes that year. You going to get some Cy Young votes this year?
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Come on, dude. Pull up your numbers one time. You're out here. You got 180 innings. You're punching out more dudes than you ever have. You have a below 3 ERA, and you're on a first place team. Don't like this is a player's show. Scott's a player. He looks like a player. You can say, "Oh yeah, I should get some Cy Young votes."
Yeah, I'm gonna finish strong though, so we'll see.
Hell yeah.
We got what? One more start?
Yeah, I got one more Thursday. I think
Thursday against
Mariners again.
Oh,
It's
okay.
always the Mariners.
Okay. So when you guys, because here's the thing: when you guys went into that Mariners series, you guys basically all 3 teams were tied, right? You guys went in and kicked their ass for 3 games, and then the Astros got their ass kicked by the Royals for 3 games. So you guys have quietly put yourself in a pretty good position here. Are you guys already starting to? I know you're going to say no, but I mean, if you guys started to already like kind of look ahead and be like, Pierzynski might be coming to our first round series to do it.
Nah, you know we're staying locked in. I mean, as fast as we were 8 games in a row, and then we lost 7 in a row. We especially know how quick it can turn around, and if you're not trying to play your best baseball, all these teams are so good that they'll get you.
All right, you're giving us all the easy answers here. But Monty, you're sitting on the bench because pitchers don't do anything. You're killing spread, but how many times a game are you looking up at the scoreboard watching at this time of year? And you have to be honest, and I'm gonna call you out if you're not.
How many times am I what?
Looking up at the scoreboard this time of year, scoreboard watching during a game that you're not pitching in. When you're pitching, you're just punching tickets and you're worried about that stuff.
Oh, I'm always just on the bench vibing with the guys.
Never looking at the scoreboard.
Nah, I'm not. Sometimes I'm not even dialed in on the game. I'm just cracking jokes on the bench.
That's fair.
That's important.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what you bring to the squad. Is it changed this year?
I played with it. You know what I do on the bench.
I know what you do. You're definitely not locked into what's going on the field. I definitely understand that. What has changed the most now that you are a married man for this season?
Nothing much, man. She's so busy. She's a doctor. So she's kind of in her first year of residency right now, getting absolutely crushed by hours of work, and so she's gonna be in Seattle. It'll be good to see her, and I'm excited about the off season. We're gonna be in Boston chilling, but she's the best.
Monty.
Yeah, I got myself a doctor, dude.
Monty.
Yeah, you married up,
You
dude.
have to explain that. Is she blind?
No.
You got a doctor?
I got a doctor. I got a pretty doctor too. She's the best.
Well, I assume she's pretty because you're a pretty man. But a doctor? Do you guys not talk?
Oh, we talk all the time. She loves how dumb I am. That's what makes it work. I don't know nothing she's talking about.
Does she look at you and go, has she ever looked at you and you're like, let's see, now 9 months of marriage, has she ever looked at you and been like, are you serious?
She probably says like, man, that's my big dumb idiot right there.
Monty, so wait, now you shouldn't have let this out because there will be teams now that you're going to be a free agent at the end of the year will say, look, he's married to a doctor. He doesn't need us to pay him as much. So
no,
you got to be careful.
No, opposite.
AJ, it's the opposite.
No.
He's got relationship leverage because they're good. Oh, you don't want this? You don't want this smoke? I'm good. Someone will pay me for that.
No, I'm saying teams will look at him and say, well, he's married to a doctor. He doesn't need all that money.
Who the hell
He'll
would
take
say
less.
That makes no sense.
Nobody.
Artie Moreno?
Stop.
Okay, so we crossed off 1 out of 29. I think he'll be good.
Is there a place you wanted to get traded to, Bonnie? Like did they approach you
somewhere
or
in
anything
playoffs.
like that? Anybody in the playoffs?
Yeah, anybody. I knew
And
it
you
was
were
happening
ready.
this year, so it was much easier to transition.
You were mentally thinking, hey, I'm ending up somewhere. Let me prepare myself that I'm going to be moving, right? Probably a few weeks out.
Oh, I was traveling with 2 suitcases in case it happened on the road. I mean, I was ready, so it was only a matter of time. It happened on the last day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I was ready. I was excited to be Texas. Indoor field. I saw Scherzer was going there. I knew Eva was there. Heen Dog was there. I got to play with him in New York, so I knew somebody there. And they're nasty, dude. They're so good. Corey Seager's maybe one of the best players I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's insane. Have you had conversations with Chris Young, GM? Because he's in the frat. Like, when you go over there, is he like, hey, I did this, so I know what's good?
Yeah, he'll say hey and good game and all that every now and then, but he's not really in the locker room that much. He's just kind of walking around watching. But he's such a good dude. You're right.
Yeah, he's done a great job pretty quickly. Okay, St. Louis question, because you experienced that for the first few months. How much do you think they missed Yachty? And how much did you miss Yachty? Because you guys had a quick connection right away last year when you joined the team.
You can't replace Yachty. I mean, dude been doing it for so long and just had a special feel for the game when it came to pitch calling and just controlling a bullpen and a pitching staff. So I really enjoyed throwing to Wilson and Kisner, and it's unfortunate how it worked out, but hopefully St. Louis can figure it out and get that machine rolling again.
We played with each other in New York, and I saw some of your like maturation, you growing up. You were a kid when they called you up. Do you feel like they undervalued you in New York because of what you've gone and done now in St. Louis last year? I think, what'd you go, 7-0, your first 7 starts after you left New York last year?
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like you were
undervalued me, though. I just think I don't think I was inconsistent, but I wasn't as consistent as I have been. I just think I needed to grow up and kind of just keep learning and getting more comfortable in the league and really just have more confidence in myself and my stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would have good games in New York and then I would have a bad one. I don't think I really ever had 2 bad ones in a row, but my good ones weren't as good, and I thought I was pretty average in New York.
Did your face feel naked in New York?
Absolutely. Maybe it's the beard that's giving me this new confidence because I felt like a 12-year-old there.
Yeah, and you definitely can cover up some of the what I would call blemishes on your face with that beard.
Yep.
People with beards are covering up things that they don't like about their face. So that's what you're doing.
He's more intimidating with the beard. And I have no baseball experience, but there was a time period where I couldn't have a beard with my job, and I didn't like it. And I felt better when I had a little bit of facial hair. So I can only imagine when you're on the mound and you've got to be in that freaking zone. And Monty likes a little bit of this. Did you have this before the Yanks? Were you always a beard guy?
Oh, every offseason I would grow it out.
See?
I had it in college, just would grow it out, and then I would always shave it and be like, man, look at that.
Did you ever get one of those talking tos from didn't they, who told us that Boone sometimes would just say like, didn't Trevino say that?
Yeah, he would.
What was it?
He would come out and be like, hey,
just a little bit of
maybe
he would get a call from Wendy.
That's right. That's right.
She would sit right beside the dugout, and if she saw anybody with too much, she would make a call down and be like, hey, tell number so-and-so to shave.
Yeah. And
is that a paid job, by the way? Like, does she pay herself $2 million for that?
That I don't know. I don't know salaries.
Just throwing that out there.
It's expensive to live in New York, so the salaries.
I agree.
I can't. But your mentor in New York, he used to come out with a couple like nice tightened up beard, and
he started cleaning it up at one point that last year.
It was tight. Yeah, who are we talking about, Monty?
CC, dude. Oh man, dude, he would get it lined up, but it would just be a little bit, just enough to where it wouldn't be doing too much. And so he would just shave it, but he would be looking good when he'd get it lined up.
He would get a tightened up beard. CC would get his beard tightened up, especially for a start day, and he felt that, I don't know, I always felt like it gave him a little bit more swag. And
for sure, dude.
Nobody ever really said anything except like after his start day, then he would shave it off. But then by his start day again, it would be a nice line, and it was fresh.
Yeah.
Wait, when you're with the Yankees, though, hold on. When you're with the Yankees, let's say you have an appearance. You're in the off season, and the Yankees like, hey, we need you to come, sign autographs in the Bronx. Would you have to shave your beard to do those, or is it free because you're in the off season, only when in uniform?
I don't think I did. I think I just showed up with a beard. I'm pretty sure it's only in season. Because I remember Glaber always has a beard too, and I'm pretty sure he had one. I don't know, dude. That was so long ago. I feel like I stopped doing that once COVID happened. Those didn't happen anymore. So 2018 was the last time I did that.
Oh, appearances, yeah.
And then they would just play Wendy Doesn't Know.
Wendy doesn't know. Wendy doesn't know.
Jordan, who is the top rival of the Texas Rangers right now? Like, who would you consider the top rival?
Probably Houston. I wasn't here for their little scuffle, but it sounded like it was something real. So, pretty good rivalry going on there.
Hearing about it and knowing Semien, were you pleasantly surprised? Like, okay, let's go, Marcus, because he's a pretty quiet lead by example guy, right?
Very quiet. I mean, he does everything right. I've never played with him. I've always played against him, and I've always respected the way he played the game. I remember facing him in Toronto and just absolutely hated having to face him because he's such a good player. But, yeah, I was surprised when I saw that for sure.
I like that.
So you wanted to name yourself the American Missile because, right?
I'm back with the Cuban Missile, yeah.
You're back with the Cuban. That's what I mean.
Oh,
You wanted to name yourself the American Missile. And I remember because it was in spring training. I think you hit like 97, 98, something like that. And we were in Boston. Or whatever, Fort Myers, Fort Misery. And you were like, you think they could call me the American Missile? Now that you're back with them, are you going to revisit that? Because they don't have player weekend names anymore, so you can't have Gumby on the back of your jersey.
Oh man, you should see it. We did picture day the other day, and American Missile and Cuban Missile right there in the back row, right together.
Same physique and everything. Same.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that framed, get that picture, and zoom in on it.
Absolutely, I would love to see that picture with shirts off. You have less tattoos.
Give me a couple years, I might get tatted too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. The whole transformation.
You never know in free agency.
After this 1-year contract I get this year, I'll get some tattoos.
No,
we're not. Trash. That's AJ's.
We're not putting 1-year contracts out.
AJ, I'm his agent. Get out of here.
Hold on. Listen, Monty, I can get you 1 year, $50 million, but you're going to get traded to a contender in the middle of the year. Will you take it?
No.
You're such a liar. No. And then you can sign another one next year.
No, stop
get out
it.
Of here. I'm texting Boris right after this. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who he has? Is that who your agent is?
Yeah.
Oh, then never mind. Yeah, he'll get you 2 years, 20 instead.
Shut up. Stop it. I'm clipping this and sending this to him.
It's gonna get AJ. AJ's gonna get canceled.
Yeah, he's got the owners on speakerphone right now.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. All the time.
I thought this
all
was
the time.
team friendly.
Yeah. AJ's trying to get you traded, get you signed with the White Sox because they're getting deep into their pockets with gator arms.
They ain't got that
Jordan
kind
Montgomery to the Pirates.
Hey, whatever. Hey, listen.
Hey, they're good though.
Hey, if the Pirates came to you and said, "Hey, here's 10 years, $300 million," and the highest other offer you had was 10 years, $200 million, your ass would be in Pittsburgh.
For sure. I'm
exactly.
right there with the Yinzers.
Exactly with the Yinzers.
You'd be all up in them Yinzers. You'd have an Iron City beer sponsorship.
Everything I've heard from Jameson and Chris Stratton, dude, they loved it there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And Radley Haddad's there now. You remember Radley?
Oh, Rad is there. Rad will definitely use that like stoic stare and look at you on the mound and say, "Jordan, great job fielding that bunt."
I love Radley. He's one of my best guys.
Yes.
Who are your guys? Like Tyon, you're close with. Cole, are those two of your kind of closest friends?
I still talk to
in the
Cole
game?
a decent amount.
Yeah.
Jonathan Holder, my best buddy.
Hodor.
Hodor said hey. Chad Green. That's my squad. There's Jameson, Holder, Chad Green, and
Cole.
I talked to Cole,
Really cool,
but
man.
those three are my best friends.
You don't talk to position players or what?
He texted me.
Yeah.
I mean, position players that actually get on the field.
Oh.
Higashioka, I talk to a lot. Higgy, he's the best.
Everybody should. Who's going to be one of those go-to guys that when you're going through free agency and teams are offering you stuff, who are you going to reach out to?
Probably Garrett and Jameson. Jameson just going through it last year. I remember he would text me and told me everything that was going on, and it seemed pretty hectic. So I'll definitely have some guys to talk to.
What's your hope? What's your hope in free agency?
I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect. I'm just happy I stuck to my guns and kind of betted on myself. Just because you only get to go to free agency really once. So I'm going to try my best.
You've already tried your best.
Hey, no, you don't. You go multiple years if you sign a 1-year deal. You can go every single year.
Stop it. Calling MLB offices, AJ Pierzynski needs to come back home.
This is so not like you, too. This is weird.
I don't understand.
I'm going to fly down there tomorrow and handle it. I got to get him back on track. I have a couple more Rangers questions before you jump. So, number one, your pitching coach is?
Mad Dog.
He doesn't know.
Wait. What if he was like,
Poppy. It's Poppy. It's Poppy. Hey, bro.
I've had so many coaches over the last couple of years, man. I thought you were asking about Cardinals.
Wait, but this one stands out. Mike Maddox, right?
Yes.
His brother is?
Greg Maddox.
Your favorite player growing up was?
Not Greg Maddox. I like Abbott.
Who was your favorite player?
Abbott for the Braves.
Okay. I knew you were a Braves fan. I figured it was worth a
Yeah.
shot.
Wait, who?
Abbott? The lefty?
Hey, Abbott.
Right?
Who? Abbott? Who the?
Yeah.
Paul Abbott? Who?
He was with Hudson, and he was in that. He was like the number 4.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
I love that you love a number 4.
Wait,
dude,
hold
he
on.
was just a tall lefty. Like he was just very similar to me.
Braves.
So I really, me and my brothers loved watching him.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out who this is. Jim Abbott.
Glavin's a small lefty. He knew he was going to be the American Missile, so he had to find a huge left-handed starting pitcher, even though he's a number 4.
You say the big unit too.
Oh yeah, but come on.
Right. But how many Braves fans, in that era go, oh, Abbott was my dude, not Maddox or Glavine or Smoltz. That's pretty unique. That's like actually.
Well, it's easy to root for those guys, but like the guy that kind of held the ship and was super consistent, those guys get overlooked. So I like giving them some love.
No, I like that. Okay, respect. And also from a big leaguer who's like, screw who's fun to watch. Who am I watching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That matters.
That does matter.
Who are you trying to? I could say I wanted to be like AJ Pierzynski, but I would watch video of John Buck. Like,
is that true?
Wow, true story.
I like that.
Hey, right. By the way, speaking of Maddox, when he comes out to the mound, have you ever told him to not touch you?
No, maybe I'll hit him with like a little swim move or something one
there
day.
you go, spin move. You won't.
Get out of here! I got
to do it.
Monty, I always tell people that when he comes out, how he tries to feel your heartbeat on your shoulder. I always tell pitchers, next time he comes out, he always goes like this. And he puts his hand over. Don't think of him covering his mouth. Think of him holding his mustache on as he's talking to you. And you'll never be able to take him seriously. Because he's got all the fake color in his mustache, and you're just be like, take your hand off. Take your hand off of there. So you need to think of that next time he comes out to talk to you.
Yeah.
My last Rangers question. So I was there, Monty, during the COVID season when they hosted, late stages of the playoffs in the World Series. And it was like, I don't know, a quarter or a third they allowed in or whatever it was. Everything was weird, obviously. The Rangers have not made the playoffs with this new ballpark. So what do you think the place is going to be like? You've experienced Rangers baseball here in the second half of the season. We haven't seen how this ballpark, sounds and feels for a playoff vibe from their actual home team.
I think it's going to be loud. I mean, we've had it packed a couple games. They have this group that sits in right field, and they're pretty bonkers. It's like a bunch of young college kids, I guess, just wilding out. But at the playoffs, it's going to be packed. That place holds so many people, and you're just kind of stuck in that dome, and it's all looking down on the field. It's going to be sick.
So for those hustlers in left field, someone's got to do it if they're age eligible. You say to an attendant, hey, listen, go get him a round or two of beers on me from Monty. You've got 30 of the most diehard fans in baseball for life. Thoughts?
I don't think he's going to do it.
Will Rich Rice allow you to do that?
Say that again. I don't even understand what you're saying. You want me to buy
Explain
some
in
beers
baseball
out there?
player terms for me.
He wants you to buy beers for the ruckus people in right field.
Oh, absolutely. I'll pull. Yeah, for sure. I'll do that.
Well, hey.
But
do you know who?
Someone's done it.
Yeah, he almost said it.
Do you know who John
did that for
Blake
the
and
Cubs?
Rich Rice are?
He bought the entire bar.
That's good.
Who did that,
the
though?
Cubs?
What's his name?
Lester did it.
Yes,
after he
Lester
left.
did that.
But Monty, do you know who Rich Rice and John Blake are with the
They're
Rangers?
the owners, right?
No, they're the PR guys. They will not allow you to buy beers for him. Rich Rice, definitely. Tell him I said that. Because Rich Rice, have you ever met John Blake?
No.
What?
I literally just kind of am
Don't
off to
talk to
myself.
him. You know Lucky. Obviously, you know Lucky, right?
I know Lucky, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just making sure we got okay. Rich Rice is the PR guy. Okay. So when you see Rich Rice today, say AJ wants me to buy beers for the whole 30 people in right field, and just give me. And then we got to text Kratz's reaction because I want to. But I want it video when you show his face and he'll just go, "What? No, we can't do that. No way."
All right. Yeah, I'll hunt him down.
Okay. He'll be the guy in the clubhouse asking you to do interviews today.
You ain't hunting nobody down. You don't even know who they are. You thought they were owners. You thought the PR guys were owners. Jordy's, you ain't doing none of that, Monty.
That's actually who I want on my team, though. Sign me up for the guy who's just like, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm just going on the field and winning ball games.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
That is who Jordan Montgomery is. Monty, he's gonna be like, oh, I'm a big dumb idiot, all that stuff. He's going to take the ball every 5 days, and he's going to go out there. He may not dominate that start, but he's going to dominate the next one. It's going to be Slider Johns down in the zone, and it's bad news bears. Like this
Slider
guy
Johns,
is,
dude. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you throw some speed balls. Don't get it twisted. You got a speed.
Yeah, the heater's heating.
I get it. I get it. And you got 31 starts under your belt. You're about to make your 32nd start. That's a real number.
That's real.
Hell yeah. Well, you're off the hot seat, dude. It was great to have you on. Finish strong. We'll be watching in the postseason. Go crush it. And then we are your first interview after you sign your multi-year deal.
Yeah, I'll tell all those 30 kids to give a little cheers out there with their beers after I
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm telling you, it'd be a massive story. And if they say no on the beers, then like smoothies or whatever they sell out there. I don't know. No?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something. Buy him something. So, Monty, awesome having you on, dude. Appreciate you.
Monty,
Appreciate y'all.
Hold on. Before you go, if you guys win your division, you guys first round, I have your first round series for Fox. I tell you what, I'll split the beers with you. How's that?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Love that.
Done.
Love that.
AJ, don't forget.
He won't.
What am I forgetting?
AJ's a man of his word.
I'm saying don't forget to do it.
I show up.
Okay. Thank you. Later,
Thanks,
Jordan.
Monty.
Have a good one, dude.
Later, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
I hope you missed the bus, Jordy.
Oh, stop it.
Good seeing you, Kratzy.
You're so mean. All right, let's slap hands. Ready for AMP?
Oof.
Right to AMP. You guys know what it is already. So AMP, name, favorite ball club, question, comment. Go for
Unmute
it.
it.
Unmute. Unmute yourself.
Hi,
Hey.
my name is Carvis, and I'm a big fan of the White Sox. And as a hat enthusiast, I was wondering where I could get my hands on such nice hats, like the ones you guys show off on Kratz hats.
Nice. Appreciate you. Thank you for the call. On the White Sox front, good luck this offseason. We're not talking about the White Sox last week. Oh, you didn't ask a White Sox question.
I know. Thank you.
To be
I couldn't see your name, but thank you for not asking a White Sox question.
Let's start with AJ. Your hat's the easiest because it's pretty much the same every day, and you can actually acquire it at foulterritoryshop.com. Boom, there it is. It's a little crooked.
And that's his face. His face is a little crooked.
Oh, his face is a little crooked.
And those hats are so comfortable. Unlike the hat that I have on, which is made my head numb the whole day, and this is why I don't wear snapbacks, but
it's too tight.
It's too tight. But the reason it's too tight, oh man, I have a line on my head too, is this is my high school hat. AJ, do you still have your high school hat?
Dude, my shit's retired, bro. I don't need a hat.
Your hat's retired?
No, my jersey.
Stop. Oh, and they put a hat right on top of it?
No.
Stop. Of course your jersey's retired.
I don't have my high school hat. What are you, crazy? I don't have anything.
I didn't know I had it until this weekend. I'm like, I have to get all the rest of my hats out. I got a big pile of them back here. Christopher Dock was the name of the high school. Now it's called Dock Academy. But
also, they're about to unretire AJ's number at the high school because they found out that he has not kept a hat. So
yeah,
you can now get AJ's number.
Dude, you have Legos. Don't act like you don't keep junk.
Yeah,
okay.
Come on.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of stuff from like high school or any of that.
I didn't know I had it either. I'm so juiced that I do have it.
My mom, you know why I don't have it? Because my mom tried to give it to me and I threw it all in the garbage.
That is real.
Join AMP at Foul Territory is how you can be like the magic caller who wanted to know about Kratz hats. Appreciate you.
But no, also you can buy a lot of those hats, can't you? Like on MILB.com, Kratz?
What's that? All my hats?
Yeah, a lot of them, like the Iron Pigs and like the
all of them.
All of them, right? A lot of them, Columbus Clippers. Like I remember when I was speaking of high school, that we had one store in the town that would sell minor league hats in Orlando, and we'd always go and they'd get New Year's and buy minor league hats because they were cooler than the big league hats.
They are, because they're always changing them. They were the first ones to get like the multiple color ones, and then then you can start getting different color, because you don't just always want the same color of your team hat, but you can get the same logo. Minor league ones, they're legit.
They have to try harder. They have more style.
I'm so juiced to have all these minor league hats. I'm gonna start wearing them for real.
This has been so fun.
Every show.
This has been so fun that we're 16 minutes past when we usually say we're done. So cue the music.
We're not cueing the music.
No music.
They're mad at you because your microphone just hasn't
fit
very well.
I'm so sorry. I had one off day. We're on every day, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3, 16 p.m. Eastern.
Why don't you stay?
Stay up here?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're leaving soon, so I get to get Studio AJ all to myself at the end of the week.
Locks are changed.
Good?
He's gonna sit in your chair with no pants on.
I mean, he's been doing it. He doesn't know I switch him.
All of the cheese.
All of the vegan charcuterie board.
Oh man,
so delicious.
I want to be in that studio. We will see y'all
turns the air down to like 40. Drinks all my drinks. It's unbelievable.
I'm suspended. We'll see everyone on Wednesday on FT Live. Thanks, Jordan Montgomery and Kelly Crull.